Dennis to say, in the name of Jesus.
In the name of Jesus.
I break the curse.
I break the curse.
Of death.
Of death.
Of mammon.
Of mammon.
And Thor.
How did Beardo get brought into this? That's what I want to know. Just remember, the most important thing is buy my shit. Hey, everybody, just a couple classic clips from a couple videos. Let's get back to the comments, and we will welcome our participants. Then we will welcome our guest. This is, we saw our guest, when was it? In November? Beginning of November. And this guy is a fantastic storyteller. So we begged him to come on with us, and he agreed. So, hello, Caroline, Carla. Thanks for becoming a new member. Sorry. Mike O is in the house. Michael Burkeen, Anita Drake. Hello, Alyssa. How are you? Dotson is in the house. How's it going, Dotson? Caroline Saxby. How are you doing? Mrs. Boo is in here.
I hope I'm in here.
Wisdom is in the house. How's it going, Wisdom? Dotson, if I already said you, oh well, you get two welcomes. Candy 7 is in the house. How's it going, Candy? Sorry guys, scrolling. Sarah's in here, and Sarah has been a member for 7 months. She was our very first channel member. So welcome, Sarah. Hope you're feeling better, Sarah. Julie J.A.D. is in the house. How's it going? Paranormal Monkey Podcast is here with us. God damn.
Oh, wow.
Justin, how are you doing? PNC Paranormal's here with us. Thank you. You guys have all these long chats, and it's hard to sort through the Chris Williams.
Because they get in here
doing?
so early, and then it's like trying to play catch up all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's funny.
It is.
No, we appreciate you guys joining, though, for sure. Laura Wilson, how are you?
It's like they almost have a game
Trying to get to the bottom. Yeah,
to
I
see
think
who
so
can get
sometimes.
in here the soonest. And start.
Dragon Ranger, hello. Boo Berry, how are you? Haven't seen Boo Berry in a while. Tammy, mom of twins. Jillian Daniels. Chris Williams.
Who's non-sister Michelle?
Huh? Did I miss one?
I love Jeff and his non-sister Michelle.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Oh, it's that Jeff. Okay.
Oh, okay.
It gets confusing when we have more than one Jeff in situations.
Is that Denise Flood?
Who? Where?
Up here? Sorry,
Yes.
you guys all know that I'm blind as a bat. So,
Well, yeah, he needs to get new glasses.
Julie
but
N, how are you? Firefly Kelly.
Dragon Ranger.
I'm never gonna get to the bottom,
Nope.
guys.
We're gonna have.
We're just gonna crow the chat. Okay.
Yep.
Because we've got an hour with Jeff tonight, and I don't want to waste it.
Nope.
We've already been a little disheveled starting the show with
Headphones.
some bull crap that we will talk about in an hour or two. So Jeff Belanger is an author, podcaster, storyteller, adventurer, and explorer of the unexplained. He's written more than a dozen books that have been published in 6 languages. He's an Emmy-nominated host, writer, and producer of the New England Legends series on PBS and Amazon Prime, and is the author of over a dozen books. He also hosts the award-winning New England Legends weekly podcast, which has garnered over 5 million downloads. Damn, that's a lot. He is also an adventurer. He's climbed a couple mountains and stuff. I'm not going to read the whole thing. He has also written for major newspapers such as the Boston Globe and the USA Today. And he has also written for the TV show Ghost Adventures, which I want to talk to him a little bit about that, like what part he actually writes for them. So he's been on numerous channels, the History Channel, Discovery, Travel Channel, Bio, Reels, just a whole list of accomplishments that this guy has had. I think his greatest one is he is a fantastic storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and welcome Jeff.
Hey,
Jeff, how are you?
I'm hanging in there like a hair in a biscuit. How about you?
I'm doing great. I am doing great. One thing I forgot to add in your bio, which you should probably put on there, is that you are an accomplished singer as well.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I guess getting like a D- in school is an accomplishment too, right?
I don't
something.
I don't know. We've got a little bit of video of this we can show to people, and we can. Why don't you guys all put your grades in the comments as far as the singing? So let's
Here we go.
Let's go ahead and present this.
I'm too sober to hear this.
This was the night that we met Jeff, and it was fun. That share and play.
Sounds great. I can't hear the audio. Maybe they can.
Oh,
Did you share your audio,
you guys share your audio.
rookie?
I always let
You
me
forget to do
start. I
this.
do this every stinking time. Nope, I screwed up. Let's try it again.
He forgets on the
God.
screen. He's got to.
There's a flip you got to switch to share the audio. Which
and he always forget. It's like it's not a manual. It should be just manually done.
okay, let's start this.
Try
over.
this
Boy,
again.
did we screw up this
Ay.
this intro to this podcast? That's
Also
everything's-
share audio tab.
Yes, there we
you
go. That's where I always screw up right there.
Okay, here
my
we
bad.
go.
Here we go.
This is awesome.
Because this sounds great. I think.
Look at the night, and I don't seem so sober. You fill it up with booze and gummies. And when I hurt, it doesn't hurt so bad because I'm high and drunk. How can I hurt when I'm in Michigan?
Pandering.
Pandering.
I said it again.
Touching one or two or three, no judgment. Reaching out, touching Tim, touching me. The times never seem so good.
So good. So good.
Really working the crowd now.
Believe they never were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
You wanna play more? Do you want to cut it?
Freestyle
I-
rap.
Yeah,
Where do you go from there? You know, we should just end the show. Like,
we'll just go ahead and stop that now.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll end the show with that. I think that's
Yeah.
worth a replay.
no, I think we just end it right now. Like, that's
No,
it.
no.
We're good. Like,
gotta-
we can't top that.
Yeah, we can. 'Cause
It was so funny because Amber and I had talked to him in line for food, and then he came over to the table and he told us what he's, and it was like, no, he is not, and he did. You did exactly. It was like, oh my gosh, he is actually doing it. So,
So we want y'all to rate that in the comments. I mean, I give that a solid B.
Oh, wow.
I've-
That's I never
Yeah,
got to
that's
be in
good.
school, so I'll take it.
Good. Even
Yeah.
not even in English, being that you're an author and you wrote this.
Yeah, no, I
this
got
book
some
here?
A's in English. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What are you going to do?
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, no, as far as telling you what I was going to, like, if we ever play poker and I'm betting big, I don't bluff. So just fold. You know, if I go all in, you better
Yeah.
have some aces, you know?
Yeah, I've never been able to pull off the bluff playing poker. I don't
Yeah.
know, not that talented. So yeah,
Yeah.
my friends know that if I'm betting, I probably have it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, look, I got a C plus. I got an E for effort. I'll take that.
Oh, wow.
And a
Harsh
B. Well,
critic.
that averages out to passing. Let's do pass fail. Good enough.
there we go.
You did
Yep.
get a AAA, so that's always good.
Well, thanks.
But anyway, we wanted to talk to you about it's Krampus time. Krampus was the 5th. Yep.
Yep, I saw that. Awesome.
And that was a topic of your latest book that I just showed.
Yeah.
Where can people get your books at? Amazon, all the
Wherever you get books, it's all. So you know what's crazy? Last year it came out and it's sold out by December 3rd. You couldn't get it
Oh,
anywhere.
Oh,
wow.
really?
So it's in its 4th printing now. It's available everywhere. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Your favorite local bookseller can get it if you ask them. Yeah, wherever you get your books. It's also an audiobook. I narrated it, so I did that. It's on Audible and Amazon, Apple, and wherever else you listen to that. And it's also available as an ebook if you're into Kindle and everything else.
I think the audio one would be
That's
really
me.
good to get because, like I said, I mean your niche is that you're such a great storyteller. Like, you know,
Thanks.
your live presentation at that event that we showed you singing at was fantastic.
Thank you. That's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, no, I got to actually record it myself. So
Cool.
we went into a recording studio, the whole thing professionally done. And
Cool.
yeah, it's pretty wild to read your own book.
Yeah.
And way harder than you think.
Yep. Yep.
A lot of breaks. Take a lot of breaks.
Cool. So we've got Jeff for an hour. We're going to ask some questions here for about 20 minutes or so, and then we're going to let you guys start, firing some questions. I've got one question that's not related to the Krampus book. So
Sure.
when you were a writer for Ghost Adventures,
Still am, by the way.
What do you do exactly? Do you write the intro stuff, or what? How does that go?
Sure. So I've worked for Ghost Adventures since the very first episode in 2008. So 16 years and going. Every episode, I'm the researcher and writer. And what that means is I help them. In the beginning, I was also finding locations. Now we have people for that, which is nice. I don't miss that.
Cool.
So once the location's picked, it's given to me. I help find the people that will come on camera to share their stories. I interview them ahead of time so the producers know what the stories will be if they need to prepare reenactments or whatever.
Yeah.
I help write some of the voiceover stuff in the very beginning. The beginning part of the episode is produced without apology, right? That's the setup.
Yeah.
So the historical setup, the interviews, all that. And then once they start investigating, whatever happens. Then at that point, it's pure reality,
That's cool,
ghost hunting show.
So
that's the part I work on is the beginning, the
Gotcha.
historical setup. Yep.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, I was curious, like what part of that show gets written. Then I thought, well, it's got to be the beginning and the the guest and the stories and all that stuff. So yeah, that's awesome. How much of your time does that take, like throughout the year? I mean,
so we've been going. So people have been asking about new episodes, and I get it. We have filmed a ton this year. Like basically, we've been filming about 2 a month.
Okay.
All year. And next one's next week. Like we're working on it right now. So cool. So there's a bunch in the can that haven't aired yet. And I don't have air dates. That's the network that decides on that.
Yeah.
So so basically 2 a month. Some of them are really in depth and take a ton of time. Everyone's different. You know what I mean? Like it's that and that's part of what I love about it is that every haunt is a unique story with its own unique history, with its own unique witnesses and people and the way it sits in whatever community it's in. So we've got to figure that out and tell the story.
Yep. Cool. So in addition to your Christmas book, what other topics have you written books about?
Most of my books are on haunted places. That's been my wheelhouse since I started writing books back in 2004. And so haunted places, the history of spirit communication. I wrote a nightmare encyclopedia, which was fun. I did a book called Weird Massachusetts, which is about like all the weirdness in Massachusetts, ghosts, monsters, aliens, everything. It all interests me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's not ghosts are what I'm most known for and what I've worked on the most, for the longest time. But I love all of it. And then I wrote a memoir about climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. And then the Christmas book's the latest, and it was sort of the Christmas book was kind of like a natural extension of things I've been working on anyway, because I've been doing those, like you saw that was sort of like my Halloween show that you saw in November.
Yep.
And I've been doing that for 15 years. And a place reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you think you could do a Christmas show?" This was like 10 years ago. Yeah. And there's this Krampas character. I'm like, "Yeah, I know Krampas." And I said, "Yeah, I could work on that." And so this whole project started as a live show. So I would tell the stories of like the monsters of Christmas. And then afterwards people will come up and like, "I can't believe you didn't mention Grilla from Iceland. Or what about the Tomten from Sweden?" I'm writing it down. I'm like, Grilla from Iceland, Tomten from Sweden. Okay, cool. And then I go back and I'd research it. I'm like, these are great. They'll go on the next show. And then it just kept evolving. And so when the publisher reached out to me and said, "We think this should be a book." I said, "Yeah, no, I agree. And I've thought it for some time." And it was actually really fun and really easy to write because I'd been working it out in front of live audiences for a decade. So so the book was just a total joy to work on. Cool.
Can you give everybody, because I'll be honest with you, I never heard about Krampus till a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Like I never knew anything about it. So can you give just a brief overview as to what Krampus is and what the story this backstory is on it and stuff like that?
Sure. So Krampus, who's right behind me, by the way, careful. Krampus is they've called him the Christmas devil. He's covered in fur. He's got horns. He's got a long red forked tongue. He carries a switch of sticks. He's wrapped in chains so you can hear him coming. And he shows up on December 5th, Krampusnacht, and he will come to your home. And if your kids have been naughty, he beats them with the stick. And if they've been really naughty, he snatches them up, stuffs them in a bag, takes them back to his mountain lair, and kills them. They're dead. So come St. Nicholas Day, December 6th, the very next day, St. Nicholas is free to bring toys to all the good girls and boys because that's all that's left. All the naughty ones have been dealt with.
Gotcha.
So St. Nicholas can keep his hands clean, and Krampus does all the dirty work. People have called Krampus the enemy or the anti-St. Nicholas. Not true. Not true at all. They are partners. They're cohorts, good cop, bad cop, and they often show up together. So
we actually had Krampus and Santa together on a show. We
did one a few years ago. That was the first year I heard about Krampus, and I was like, okay, we got to get Krampus and we got to get Santa on, and they're gonna duke it out. But
and they both showed up.
They did. They talked a lot of shit to each other, though.
Mm-hmm.
They shouldn't have. They're partners. They're both serving the same goal. That's the thing.
I think we were told that they were brothers.
Yeah.
Well, that's one version. So by the way, too, just if Santa Claus and Saint Nicholas are one and the same in your head, for tonight at least, I'm asking you to separate them because that's what the rest of the world does.
Yep.
Saint Nicholas comes on December 6th. Santa Claus comes on December 25th.
Okay.
That's now obviously there's a lot of crossover, a lot of influence, no question whatsoever. But for most of the world, those are two different figures.
Because in this book too, you get into a lot of, you said Christmas. I believe when we talked, you said something to the effect of Christmas isn't necessarily what we think it is, or its roots aren't. What was that all about?
So Christmas has always been about the winter solstice. That's what this holiday is about. It's about the time when it's the shortest day and the longest night. And it's a time when winter is just, barreling down, and it's time to be afraid. When you live in farther northern climates, where winter's harsh, that's a season where you have to have enough firewood to keep you warm. You have to have enough food to make it through the winter. You have to hope your roof holds up. You have to hope you keep your sanity. And in all that darkness, we celebrate, we party. It started as a festival called Saturnalia right outside of Rome. And this is, centuries BC. And that's a 7-day party where between December 17th and the 23rd, where society was just sort of flipped on its ear, where the rich could be serving their servants and the servants could get away with saying and doing things to the rich. They'd give gifts, they'd light candles, and so on. Most of our holiday traditions that we know and love that we call Christmas actually is part of the Yule festivals that would be in like the Nordic part of the world. So the evergreens, the candles, the lighting the lights, the Vikings would all drink from the same drinking horn, indicating that we're all equal right now. It's a time to put our differences aside, to put the evergreen boughs over our doors and windows, because we know when we look out on the landscape and see that winter kills everything, kills the flowers and the trees and the grasses and the ponds and the lakes are frozen solid. We notice that winter couldn't kill the evergreen. So it must be magic. It must be more powerful than winter. So we put those branches over our doors and windows. We might even take the tree inside as a symbol of how powerful this is. And that's what it was always about. And the Christian influence on it really didn't come around until like the 1940s, 1930s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Christianity was at war with Christmas from the year 336 until like 1940. That's a long war. Finally,
I do know some churches that I've went to throughout my life that Christmas was bad. Like you don't decorate for it. You don't bring in the Christmas tree. It was all bad, but
that's right. And so Christianity, and then in 1940, they figured it out. They said, we're not going to win this war. We've been at it for centuries and centuries. We cannot win this war. Let's just claim it was ours. And the funny thing is, look, this is how history, folklore, legend, and the Bible works. Yep. The birth of Jesus gets very little ink in the Bible. If it was important for us to know Jesus's birthday, the Bible would tell you. But you get one clue in the book of Luke, chapter 2, where it says shepherds were laying out with their flock, keeping over the watch by night, and the angel of the Lord appeared. That's your clue. And in the area of Bethlehem, shepherds would stay out all night with their flock, basically 3 seasons of the year: spring, summer, and fall. So if
Okay.
you believe the Bible, the only season you can rule out is winter.
Yep.
So, which is fine. I don't always celebrate my birthday on the day. The other thing is, Jesus was born a commoner, which was important. Commoners didn't track their birthdays. Only kings and nobility did that. So Jesus was born an everyman, and that was a very important part of his story. The birth of Jesus does not define a Christian or Christianity. Christianity is defined by Easter. Everyone is born. Everyone's born, but nobody dies and comes back. The Easter story gets tons of ink in the Bible, tons and tons of pages and details. That's what defines Christianity. That's the big holiday. So how it got to be December 25th was the Emperor Constantine in Rome was converted to Christianity. He was trying to unify Rome under one religion. And he knew he wasn't banning the others, but he said, look, I gotta sell Jesus to the masses. And if he's going to be sold to them, he's got to be a king, not just a king, but a king of kings.
Right.
And he knew the perfect birthday for a king of kings would be December 25th, because in the Julian calendar, that was the winter solstice. That was also the festival of Sol Invictus, or the sun god. It's the shortest day, but it also marks when the sun starts to return. Every day thereafter, there will be more sun until we get to spring. And that's how we landed on December 25th. But it wasn't a thing. It was not a thing. In fact, in the mid 1600s, the Puritans banned Christmas. There was posted signs: if you dress festive, make merry, give gifts, and other satanical practices. They said satanical practices. You'd be fined 5 shillings, which was like 3 days' wages for a working class person. Because they knew. And then a new king came on the throne in England, and he said, all right, we're going to lift the ban. But he still didn't say we had to celebrate it.
Right.
And then Cotton Mather from Salem witch trial fame, he said in one of his sermons, we do more to dishonor Christianity in the 12 days of Christmas than all the rest of the year combined. We will work that day, go to school that day. No way. This is not how we honor, because they knew everything about this holiday was completely pagan.
Yeah.
And that's how it stood right up until really the latter half of the 1800s, early 1900s, when people said, we cannot win this battle against Christmas. It can't be won. It's been 2,000 plus years, and it is undefeated. We cannot beat it with legislation. We cannot beat it with sermons. Let's just say we own it, and let's put the Christ in Christmas. And so that's what they did. And by the way, that's the beauty of the holiday. It should be inclusive. If you live in a place where winter's hard, then you are included. Atheist, Buddhist, Muslim, Hindu, Jewish person, doesn't matter, right? The holiday is for you. It's the solstice. If you want to make it a religious holiday and celebrate the birth of Jesus, have at it. You can absolutely do that, and it's fine. That's as good a day as any to celebrate, the birth of the founder of your religion. Totally okay. I get real upset when people start saying like Jesus is the reason for the season. He's not. He can be for you, but he never was historically. And in fact, all of the church hated Christmas, just like you experienced.
Yeah.
That
was a few extreme people in the church, but I mean, it was Christmas was definitely, a Christian holiday. How I was raised.
Well, yeah, me too. I was raised Catholic. Yeah.
Yep. And I
remember this
stuff.
So look, I was probably like 6-7 years old, right? And I remember Father Lawler in our church, Catholic church.
Yep.
We were in the church hall, and we were there, and Father Lawler's there, and all of a sudden, who walks in the back door? Jeff, Dana, I'm not kidding. This actually happened. I was there. I remember it in vivid detail. The world's single biggest celebrity walked into the church hall. Santa Claus walked in right where I was.
Yeah.
The Santa Claus walked in, and every kid was like, right? Like Elvis meets, whoever, biggest celebrity ever. Elvis is nothing compared to Santa. In walks Santa, and he's got a bag over his shoulder, and ho, 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 he's handing out candy canes, and he's coming up front, and we're all like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, he's here, he's here, he's here. And Father Lawler's in the by the wall with his arms crossed, and he was trying to shoot death lasers out of his eyes to make Santa's head explode. I could see him trying to do it. He's just like, right? Like they're gonna fight. And I didn't understand it. I'm like, Santa's the greatest guy ever. He's bigger than Jesus, man. Oh, That's why you're mad. I get it. So anyway, Santa gave us a little gift wrapped plastic rosary beads, which, pretty
Yeah.
religious if you're Catholic, and gave us all, candy canes. And I was like, this is amazing. But I do recall Father Lawler being pissed off that that Santa was there. And I'm just like, man, oh man. So yeah, like, couldn't beat him, could you? So
Yeah.
here
Yeah,
he is.
I mean, I think everybody that's listening is now smarter for having heard what you just said about all that stuff, because I didn't know any of it. I mean, a lot of people may have, but I definitely grew up in a very Christian household. We were Baptists, and then I went to a Baptist school, but then went to a Pentecostal church, and that's where some of the people were like, "You can't even have a Christmas tree," and I mean, they were hardcore about it. Some of them were, but
which, by the way, and that's I get it. And if you're gonna have a belief system, then you need some rules, or what do you have,
Yep.
And I don't want to tell anyone how to run their faith or whatever. I just look at things. I make my whole living. I feed my family in the backstory. Right. It all started for me. I was literally hanging a fake plastic wreath on my front door, plastic berries, plastic needles on this old crafting wire on my door knocker. And the thing broke. Right. And it was cold. I live in, Massachusetts. It was cold.
Yeah.
My fingers are numb. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Why do I put a wreath on my front door? My dad did it. My dad's dad did it. The neighbors do it. It looks pretty. I mean, I like the look.
Yeah.
I'm not a Grinch about the thing. And so, but I was just like, why December 25th? Why Santa Claus? Why the Christmas tree? Why the evergreens? Why the lights? Why do we spend so much money, time, and effort on this one stupid day? Oh my God, we go broke. Keep in mind, I'm a dad. At the time, my kid was like 5, which is prime age,
Yeah.
And I had magic growing up, and I wanted her to have magic. And but then I'm like, wait a minute. And then I'm like, I'm a ghost guy. Like, Halloween's my holiday.
Right.
And then this song lyric started echoing in my head. Andy Williams' voice spoke to me from beyond the grave, and he said, "There'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago." And I'm like, scary ghost stories? Andy Williams, what are you talking about? Scary ghost stories is my wheelhouse, not Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I went, oh my, Andy Williams wasn't lying to me or all of us. He's right. It was a long tradition. And I went, so then, by the way, I bet everybody watching is like, Halloween's my holiday. I love Halloween. You know what? If you want to make Halloween the second scariest holiday of the year, your favorite, I'm not going to tell you not to. But if you're ready to graduate, if you're ready to go from JV to varsity to where the real fear is, welcome to Christmas.
Why don't you share one of those ghost stories with us?
So, okay. Everything you know about how you're supposed to feel and think about this holiday was taught to you in a ghost story. I promise you. Like, everything you know about giving to charity, treating others as though they're truly fellow passengers to the grave, that was taught to you in one of the greatest ghost stories ever told by a master, a guy named Charles Dickens, who wrote A Christmas Carol. Book came out in the late 1840s. And it just blew up in England and then Europe. Not in America, not yet. America had some beef with Charles Dickens, and Charles Dickens had some beef with America. He was very much anti-slavery, and he was over here and was served dinner by a slave, and it disgusted him. And so he said, I will never go back to America so long as slavery is legal. So he goes home, but this story suddenly catches fire. And of course, it's the story of 4 ghosts, right? The ghost of Jacob Marley, Scrooge's old business partner, and then the ghost of Christmas past, present, and yet to come. Those 4 ghosts haunt Scrooge, and Scrooge runs through this gauntlet, right, of his whole life being haunted by everything he's ever done. And somewhere near the end of the story, we all go, oh no, I know who Scrooge is. I get it. Scrooge is me. I'm Scrooge. I'm getting older and crankier and get off my lawn and all that other stuff. But if Scrooge can change in one night, so can I. You know the song lyric, be good for goodness sake, right?
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who can do that. Nobody, right? Like all my friends, like, we need a good scare to get, you need that heart attack you survived, the cancer scare, the death of a close friend or loved one that died way too young. And you're like, whoa, I know life is short, man. That's what changes, right? That's what changes. So it's it's one of those things. That ghost story was so profound. It literally invented Christmas. Christmas was not a thing when that book came out in the 1840s. It was just a day. It was like, okay, kind of a throwback to the old ways. But suddenly people were buying turkeys, and suddenly it became a bigger and bigger holiday. You give to charity, you buy turkeys, you stop what you're doing, you don't work, and you make something of it. And so when slavery was abolished after the U.S. Civil War, Charles Dickens knew America was hurting, and so he said, I know what'll help. And he brought his story over in the late 1860s, brought it to Boston first, stayed at the Parker House Hotel in Boston, practiced reading his book over and over, and read it to a theater in Boston in early that December. And in that moment, when the story was finished, when Tiny Tim said, "God bless us one and all," Christmas was brought to America. There was a gentleman in the audience who owned a factory, and he decided he was going to give everyone the day off for Christmas because you still had to work in the 1860s, still had to go to school, courts and businesses were open. He said, "I'm going to give everyone the day off, and I'm going to send them all home with a turkey." And that story spread and spread and spread. And it took a few more years, but eventually it became a federal holiday in the United States, Christmas. Keep in mind, we're looking at a century plus after George Washington, before it became a federal holiday. And then you finally got the day off. You didn't have to go to school or anything. And then on the back of that ghost story, everything you know and love about Christmas was born. It was really, really, it's that I can't say enough about what that ghost story
crazy.
Did. Also, back then, women's magazines used to print ghost stories to read by the fireplace at Christmas. That's when you read ghost stories, not Halloween.
Really?
Halloween was nothing before like the 1920s and 30s. Like it was the Celtic New Year. Halloween was nothing. But you read ghost stories because it's the shortest day, the longest night. It's dark, it's cold, it's scary out there. And so we would read ghost stories. And then as commercialism took over Christmas, there was no room for Krampus. There was no room for scary ghost stories. There was only room for spending money. And we are now living in a time right now where the ghosts and Krampus and the monsters are coming back and to save us from ruin, right? To save us. Like, so if you hate the parts you hate about Christmas, the commercialism, the overspending, the shopping, right?
Yeah.
Guess what? You can lose it, right? You can make it about the solstice, the feasting, the making merry with your friends and family and those you love. And you can redefine it any way you want. But you need help. The only way you're going to get to change, the only way you get redeemed overnight is a good scare. And we know what scares us. Ghosts and monsters. They're ready.
For sure. Dude, I didn't know any of this stuff. This is
pretty cool.
Crazy.
So now I think because I have an hour drive to and from work, I think I need to get the audio of this book just to read
do it.
So I might have to get that. Maybe
you said
for
it's
my
on
birthday.
Audible.
Audible, wherever you listen to audiobooks or Apple, whatever.
Actually, I don't listen to any. I should.
I try to, just because I said I have that hour drive, and it's of course a speed trap, so you can't have your phone anywhere, even on your you have to have it nowhere where there it can be seen, but it can be heard. I can listen to stuff, so that's what I usually try to do.
I listen to paranormal live streams and a boatload of true crime. That's what gets me through the day.
Wow, you're like a white girl.
Yeah, pretty much. I just
they love true crime.
Just missing the Starbucks.
They can't get enough.
Because you'll come out here and I'm like, "What are you watching?" He goes, "True crime." I'm like, okay.
Always got him. It's bad. At least I've learned that there's no way to really kill anybody and get away with it. So you're safe.
Yeah.
Isn't that true? Yeah. Even if you kill someone who works in healthcare, that dude got caught today.
Yeah, I saw that. That's cool.
Wait,
I'm glad they caught him. That guy that shot that.
Oh, did
CEO.
he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I work in healthcare, so yeah.
How's your CEO doing? Scared?
I know that I work for the biggest medical facility in our area, or medical group in our area, and I don't know. I didn't look to see if they actually took it down, his bio down, but I know a lot of them have been taking their bios down and everything. But our president and chief CEO, he actually is not I mean, it's not like we see him all the time. He's
Sure.
more hands-on in the business part of it, doing these things, not doing, he might be doing a lot of stuff, but it's not known to us. So he's not always blopping where he's at and what he's doing. So,
he's
but
busy taking over Toledo. He is.
yeah, yeah.
ProMedica has taken over the city of Toledo.
And
Yeah, yeah.
we're the
Owned by
biggest
ProMedica.
employer in this region. So, yeah.
Another question. So what's your favorite movie version of A Christmas Carol?
Alistair Sim, 1952 or 4. I forget which one it was, but Alistair Sim played Ebenezer Scrooge. It is hands down my favorite. I think he's the best Scrooge ever.
Mhm.
In fact, I just watched the George C. Scott one from 1984 the other day. And I promise you, like, there's even movements George C. Scott makes where I'm like, that's Alistair Sim. Like, you literally copped like his dance and movement in the bedroom. But it was great too. By the way, I like when the Muppets do it. I like when it's on stage. I don't care. The story just works
so cool,
over and over.
Did you see that new version that came out a few years ago? I think it was on A&E, where it was a really dark version.
Oh yeah.
Of the Scrooge story. Yeah, it was. Yeah, like there was, nudity and violence, and it was a dark version.
I think I stopped watching.
It's about 3.5 hours.
Yeah,
long.
I stopped watching it because it was just like this is.
Sure
it was. I can't remember where.
Yeah, FX channel.
Yeah, it was just like it wasn't.
Yeah, look that one up, and I think it's called A Christmas Carol, but if it's on the FX channel, but it's a different take. I liked it. I thought it was good, but it's not the usual.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, so the A Christmas Carol, it's so well named. It's a carol, right? A song.
Yep.
And if you think about it, that story has been so omnipresent in our lives for 150, 60 years, right? That it's like it's like the song Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen.
Yeah.
It's been covered by everybody, and everybody does it awesome.
Yep.
Because it's such a good song, the song just works. And I think the same about the Christmas Carol.
Hey Sky, we thank you for the gifted membership. We appreciate you. I think that's the third one today, so we appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. Hope you're doing well, Sky. You guys can start asking questions because he said he's got an hour tonight, and I'm not gonna impede on that. So go ahead and start throwing your questions to Jeff in the comments. Any other unique things about Christmas that most people don't know?
Okay, so this is one of my favorite parts of the story. So the Christmas tree, when the Nordic people, the Vikings and so on, would be out in the winter and they were fortunate enough to make a kill, like an elk or a deer or something like that, they would often rip the entrails out of the animal and drape them around the evergreens out in the wild as an offering to this sacred and powerful tree. It did two things. One, it also it was an offering to the tree, but also it helped smaller animals could pick at that, and they could also survive the winter. So if you're ever stringing popcorn around your Christmas tree, I need you to think of the original garland, which was entrails. Maybe this year you have a more traditional Christmas and you put entrails around your Christmas tree, and the smell is just going to be terrible.
Fantastic.
But that's the smell of an authentic and traditional Christmas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's another.
That changes the
fact.
smell of pine that you like.
No, I still like a good pine tree candle.
Pine and rot.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yep, we'd have to go shoot a deer in order to do that.
Yeah.
Though, which we could. There's some around us.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
There's so many. So the thing is, like, every part of this holiday borrows from some culture, religion, belief system, or region. You know what I mean? Like it's a gumbo. It's a stew of so many different ingredients, and that's what makes it so great. Thank you, Karen. Shucks.
Yep. We do have a question from the audience. So, gosh, I need to get new glasses. So when did actual decoration start happening on trees? Did it start with the entrails?
So that was part of it, but I know there's a great story I covered for PBS back in 1777. There was during the Revolutionary War, the Battle of Bennington. The British had Hessian and German soldiers fighting as mercenaries, and that battle was a resounding victory for the rebels that would go on to become the United States. They had no prisons for the prisoner of war, so each prisoner was just sort of sent out to a farm or someone who could take him. and a prisoner named Hendrik Rodamore made his way to Windsor, Connecticut, to a farm of Samuel Denslow. And it's really not a bad deal. Like if you were a prisoner, like he had a room and board, he helped around the farm, and it was kind of a fine place to wait out the war. It wasn't his fight anyway, you know, he was just, but he missed home.
Mhm.
And around December, Samuel Denslow noted in his journal that his prisoner, Hendrik, had gone out into the woods and chopped down a small evergreen tree and brought it inside his little shack where he lived. And Denslow thought that was kind of weird, and he peeked in on it, and he said he had tied ribbons around the branches and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was America's first indoor decorated Christmas tree, you know, in 1777. That wouldn't become popular in the U.S. for another century plus, not till Victorian times, when the royalty in England started decorating Christmas trees because they heard the Germans did it. But for him in 1777, it was kind of like a piece of home. He was homesick. He missed his friends, his family. So this was a little tradition that he could bring with him. So really, it's you know, entrails are not very practical for anything
For
indoor,
sure.
obviously. So you'd put ribbons, you'd put candles on the tree, whatever it was. It was you're also you're lighting candles to light up the night, right? You want to be a beacon in this long, dark night for sure.
Yeah. We got another question. What's your favorite resource to use when you're doing research?
Oh gosh. So thanks, Amber. That's a great question. And the answer is everything. And you can't use one source pretty much. I like talking to people. I love talking to historians and you know, people like that. Libraries are helpful. I got to tell you, like the internet, the archive.org is amazing. There's so many public domain books that have been digitized, and you can search them, which is great. So a lot of old texts are up there. And then, you know, you every source you possibly can, you know, you talk to people who live in the place, you talk to college professors and everybody in between.
Do you, I'll tack onto that a little bit. Do you find living in Massachusetts, you know, living in New England, that you have a little bit of an advantage of being close to so many of these places with historical ties? And I imagine that you guys have to have good historical societies and things like that there.
Sure. But a lot of the stories I work on are all over the world, you know? So
yeah,
I mean, I don't know, like I can always find someone, you know, and I'm not shy. If you're ever stuck somewhere and you're doing research on a town you don't live in, call the local library. I can't stress it enough. Librarians are an amazing resource. Call the main phone number. Someone will answer the phone, and you say, "Hey, I'm working on. I'm a writer. I'm working on a research on a story in your town about blah." The librarian may very well not know the answer, but I promise that she or he knows who to ask. And they'll say, "You got to talk to old Jake down at the blah, blah, blah."
You could probably just call and say, "Hey, put me on the phone with the oldest person that you have working for your library system."
That's
probably
happened,
who you want to talk to.
hasn't it for you?
They know.
Yeah.
They know everybody.
They do. Yep. I was amazed. We interviewed, he's a current mayor now, but he, you know, this was a long time ago when he first started being the mayor, but we wanted to take him through a paranormal location, to a haunted building. And we were interviewing him, and his history knowledge just blew me away. Like, that dude knew everything. I could not believe. It's like, I mean, are you lifeless? Are you a vampire? Like, have you lived through all this shit? Details. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Librarians always know. They will always know.
We got another one. What's your favorite Christmas tradition?
Oh my gosh. I love the cookies. Oh, the cookies. Such a weakness. Mistletoe is fun. I like mistletoe. That I know it's gotten kind of creepy with, like, you know, being like holding it above your head and be like, "Ladies," right? But originally it was a really beautiful story from the Norse part of the world, where the goddess Frigg had this vision that her son Baldar, the god of summer, was going to meet a horrible end. And so she gathered all the creatures of the earth and the sky and the water together and said, "No harm can come to my son." And they agreed. But the evil god Loki found a loophole. He found mistletoe. Mistletoe is poisonous, and it doesn't grow on land, and it doesn't grow in the water, and it doesn't grow in the sky. It's a parasite that attaches itself to trees. So he took poison from the mistletoe, put it on the tip of an arrow, gave it to the blind god of winter, and said, "Aim that way and let it go. Trust me." and it went right into Baldar and killed him. And as Baldar dies, all the creatures of the earth and the water and the sky couldn't revive him, but his mother, Frigg, wept over him, and only her love and her tears brought him back to life, and her tears suddenly turned into the pearly white balls that adorn the mistletoe. And she decreed that anyone who stands under the mistletoe, no harm can ever come to them, just a kiss, a token sign of affection. And I love that.
Jesus.
It's worth putting up each year, especially when you know the old traditional story.
Man, you know everything about
Yeah.
this stuff. This is crazy.
I wrote a book about it.
I know. Yeah. Yep.
So how do I stay so young looking? I don't know. I would tell you it's clean living, but it ain't that. You know,
It's all that singing.
I'll say this. I've been doing what I love to do for the last 20 years, and I'm sure that helps.
Yeah.
You know, I exercise regularly. I try to eat good, but I'm no saint, you know.
I'm actually applying for a job at the ripe young age of 51 that is something that I want to do really bad. Like it's one of those jobs that it won't seem like a job. So
yeah.
I know what you're saying. It's not work if you enjoy going every day. You know what I mean?
Right. If you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life.
Yep. Exactly.
That being said, when you this is my job, and this is how I feed my family and myself and everything else, and it is still work. And there's days where, I mean, I'm working from 6 a.m. until 10 at night, and weekends and travel and everything else. But I love it. I love this so much. And at this point, I can't imagine doing anything else.
Okay. So do you know why the angel was first on the top?
Oh, well, so I don't know if it was first. So angel would be kind of like a Christian veneer on the Christmas tree, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a Christian, you might want to put an angel up there. A star would, of course, represent the star of Bethlehem that was over the birthplace of Jesus. So you're Christianizing this pagan symbol. Again, totally fine. If that's your wheelhouse, if your wheelhouse is Christianity, then by all means put crosses on the tree, whatever. You're allowed. It's totally okay. But that's where that came from. People were trying to make it Christian.
And I think too, you know, like just because something, let's say you're a Christian and something has roots in pagan, whatever, like that's not necessarily the meaning of it now. You know what I mean? So why I don't know why they get so bothered about stuff like Christmas trees and Easter bunnies. And it's like, okay, maybe it has some roots and stuff that you don't believe in, whatever, but that's a long time ago and nobody even knows the freaking stories. So
I do.
Well, except for Jeff. I mean, Jeff knows all the stories.
Now you do too. You're hearing it all tonight.
Yeah. No, that's
It's
fascinating.
pretty cool.
Blown away.
But look, everything's got a backstory. There's a reason you got to. So look, ghost hunting, right? Paranormal investigation. If you ever find yourself in front of a building that you intend to investigate, ask yourself why. Why am I here? Right? You're here because you heard a story.
Yeah.
You heard a story and you're like, I find that believable enough that I would like to go there and find out for myself. I want to go inside, become part of the story, investigate, break out my equipment, whatever it is that you do. You want to go because you heard a story first.
And one of our top questions too, that we always ask when we go to these locations and stuff like that is, we want to hear your story. Tell us your story. We repeat that over and over and over because that's why you're there. I mean, you're trying to, let's say you hear a certain story about a guy that passed away here or whatever, was killed. You want to hear another detail to that story. That's ultimately what a lot of us are going after when we go visit these historic locations.
Of course. The old expression, right? If these walls could talk, well, you and I know they can.
Yep.
And they do.
Another question. Is it true that the Druids started the hanging of mistletoe at Christmas as it represents fertility? Respectfully, people just kiss under it.
So, you know, for me, I don't know if it was the Druids first. The Norse people, it was part of their tradition with the goddess Frigg. But you know, it would spread. I mean, stories spread going from the Nordic region to England, and the Gaelic region is not all that far over time, you know.
We're surfing for more questions.
Oh, well, very good. Ask anything.
There's one.
Well, thanks.
There it goes. Okay. Why do we put lights on our houses? Any weirdness about that?
You put lights on your houses because it is the longest night and the shortest day. It is dark out, and in some parts of the world, the sun doesn't rise at all, and you're worried if it's ever going to come back. So you light the night because, number one, you need to be able to find your way home. But even more importantly, if someone is lost out there in the snow and the cold and the dark, they need to find their way to your home because you're going to take them in and give them shelter because you're a good person. So we light up our houses to be a beacon at night.
See, I thought it came from National Lampoons, but I guess I was wrong on that too.
Yes, Chevy Chase was the first to do it.
Yes. Is there truth to the fact that they're doing a sequel to that? Do you know? Have you seen that they've done another one?
Not heard that. I mean, I would leave that alone. That is perfection.
That's going to be
you know
tough,
what I mean?
Yep. I think it's legit, but some of those Facebook movie promos that people post, they look real as hell, but they're not. But
so the thing is like that. The cast is all quite old at this point, and Chevy Chase is a pretty bitter man from what.
Oh, is he?
You read absolutely everywhere.
Yep.
But also that movie, there's no way you would make anything but a very poor sequel. You couldn't come close.
I was so excited when A Christmas Story, the second one, was going to come out last year.
Yeah.
And when I watched it, I was like,
oh, it's terrible.
But then I got to thinking, it's like, why would you even attempt to do that again? Like, there's no way you can recreate that magic that surrounds that movie.
Yeah.
Another question: have you gone ghost hunting, and have you seen anything or heard anything that you questioned today?
Yes, I've been ghost hunting for a long, long time. I started in the mid 1990s. I grew up with Ed and Lorraine Warren, so I lived in the town next to them. I knew them since I was 13 years old, and so I remember attending their talks when I was a teenager, and then writing. I first started writing about ghosts in 1996, and then started a website in 1999 about ghosts. And so I've been doing paranormal stuff for decades.
Cool.
And so for me though, I'm not like the bring in the equipment person.
Yeah.
I like the history and the story and talking to people and seeing what happens.
Yep.
So I sort of leave that other stuff to other people.
We're very much cameras and recorders. We don't.
Well, you are.
We don't bring out the crap that lights up and beeps and all that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can give those false positives.
Yes.
And so,
Yep.
But like what doesn't give you a false positive when you're sitting there and something walks out into the hallway in front of you and you go, oh my, I don't know what that is. But if you if you sit there long enough, a K2 meter will flash.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yep.
So,
for sure. What's since we're talking more of the paranormal stuff now, what is the scariest thing that's ever happened to you while you're doing a paranormal investigation?
Oh, yeah, I got that. So we were in Volcano, California, which is a town a little bigger than this room I'm in. And I think the population was literally like 90 people. And it was a small event, but we did this ghost hunt. And it was around midnight, and we went to this cemetery, which really was small, teeny little cemetery in the middle of town.
Yeah.
And we're out there and people doing like EVPs and stuff. And suddenly this shadowy man walks out from the tree line and he's stumbling out, and he's not a ghost. He's a real man who's drunk and has a gun.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
And he says, "You want to become a ghost tonight?" And that was the most scared I've ever been on a paranormal investigation. No doubt.
Yeah,
Living people scare the hell out of me.
Yep. We've done 2 investigations where there were gunshots right outside of the place that we were at.
Yeah, well, we also go to some pretty janky neighborhoods. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, oh, that place is haunted, and then you get there, you're like, damn right it is. I don't need to.
Don't even have to go in to know
I don't
that.
have to go inside. I can
Right.
drive by, verify that, right? You're like, my God. So,
Amber wants to know, what was your last adventure?
My last adventure, God, I don't know. What was my last adventure? I travel a lot in the fall for, I went to Rutland Prison Camp last month, or 2 months ago now. That was a cool place in Central Mass. The ruins of this old prison camp are out there, and it's just this great spooky place.
Cool. Jason has a question.
Yes.
Did Charles Dickens write any other Christmas stories or ghost stories?
I don't believe he wrote any other Christmas stories, but ghost stories, yes. Just A Christmas Carol just became, the most famous and well known. But he, during that time, he was not the first to do it, and by far not the last.
Right.
He just did it his just was a bigger hit than anybody else's ever. And so
Gotcha.
he used to curate some of these around December. He would put out other people's ghost stories too. So he was a fan.
Another question. Do you know how Santa's elves came to be?
Yes, but I can't tell you. It's a secret.
Oh, man.
No, I'll tell you. So Santa's elves. So there's elf lore surrounding the midwinter, the winter solstice, all over. So in Iceland, they have the Yule lads. In Iceland, they also have elves. In Sweden, they have the tomten, which is like the all beard and hat and like very little body. You've seen that. So really, the notion that Saint Nicholas has helpers goes back a long, long way. And so I think it's just basically those various stories getting attached to the Santa Claus story and then bringing them up to the North Pole.
Cool. Well, I think we got time for one more question because, like I said, you said an hour, and I want to abide by that.
Well, thank you.
But so the last question, Jeff, have you ever looked into the old Belchertown State School or the old Monson State Hospital?
Belchertown, yeah. It was one of the old Kirkbride asylums. That's in Massachusetts, and so is Monson. These Kirkbride asylums all over the country, really. They were amazing facilities for people with mental disabilities and addiction, stuff like that. And they were really the story. What's sad about them is that the story of all of them follows a very similar path. Mid to late 1800s, they're built. They're incredibly helpful because people with mental disabilities were literally put in prisons sometime for no reason other than an embarrassment to the family.
Yep.
And then so that they've got these facilities, they're learning to farm, they're self-sufficient, they're really doing well. And then the Great Depression comes and people are checking themselves into these asylums because they'll get 3 meals a day and shelter. They're overcrowded, they can't do what they were meant to do. And then states and national government and the national government doesn't want to fund them anymore. Deinstitutionalization happens in the 1980s, and almost all of them were shut down. Cutting edge treatment was like ice water baths, ice pick lobotomies, electroshock treatment, stuff that we would call barbaric and torturous today was cutting edge back then. And so when you get short staffed and stretched too thin, there's going to be abuse. There's going to be problems. And that's the case with like almost all these hospitals. 1980s deinstitutionalization happened. Almost all of them were shut down after that. And then our homeless population and our prison population exploded. Well done, government. We need a place for people that can't take care of themselves. That's just how it is.
Indiana has a lot of those facilities that are open for investigation because they're abandoned. They call them poorhouses.
Yeah.
Yeah, poorhouses, right.
I've learned so much about it because my brother has a developmental disability.
Yep.
And so he was born in the 70s. And so back then, to hear the story, like if you knew that somebody was going to get taken somewhere, you were like, when my mom told us that when he was, this was like in the 90s, and she told us she was going to put him in a home just because it was so hard to take care of him. And we just were freaking out because it was like, no, you can't take, because as kids, we used to see, and it was like, no, you can't do that. And so, but then we learned that it's so different now. And I'm his guardian now. And it's just like the care is so much better. But I worked in that field for a while. So it's like seeing and we actually have a story here in Ohio from one of the institutions in the treatment that these people had. And to hear some of the stories of some of these people there, where my brother lived, to see how they were treated, put in cages and never left out of a cage until they came to this facility. It's just so heart-wrenching, because it's how can you treat people like that? It's just...
There was one episode of Ghost Adventures we worked on. I think it was season 2. It was the Penhurst Asylum right outside of Philly.
Yeah.
And we were the first show to go there. I know they've all been there now, but when I started working on that, I was like, okay, abandoned asylum, I got it. Pretty standard story, I know. And but then I started reading into it, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, there's a federal law called the Penhurst law. It has to do with how you can and can't treat people, because
that place
there was an expose done, and I was so proud of that episode because I was like, look, Penhurst is haunted because it should be haunted.
It should be.
We should be haunted by what happened. That was the 1970s when these atrocities to human beings were taking place. Like, if you were alive in the 1970s, and I was a kid, but still, like, if you were alive, like, that's your watch. You know what I mean? Like, we can't live in a country where we treat people that can't take care of themselves. Like, if they treated dogs that way, we would hang them
Oh,
and
yeah,
not
people really
apologize.
did.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I remember when we were younger, because my brother's 3 years younger than me. And it was, I mean, people would just like stare at you because he would, if we were expected to, no, if we were expected to behave in public, he was expected to behave in public. And I mean, people would just look at him, and he doesn't have downs, but you can tell there's something about him.
Sure.
But people just would like, I mean, freak
Mhm.
out. And why is it? I mean, they were appalled that my mom chose to keep him at home and not put him in an institute. And, it was just like, it's crazy. And even when we were in high school, and that was in the late 80s, to see people the way they would treat my brother, it was like, really? But
Yeah.
then to see what happened with my children and how when they were even in having that as an example at growing up, having an uncle like that, to see how they actually grew up, and then they would be the ones standing up for those kids in school.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
when they get bullied or somebody picking on them, they are the ones that would stand up. And even their friends, to see how their generation is so different about how people need to be treated. It's just
Yeah, I
crazy.
think society is definitely
yeah.
society is definitely shifting.
Yeah.
Um,
Hope, and that's nice. And
Yeah.
isn't that what the season's all about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, winter's coming.
Yep.
The days are getting shorter and shorter every single day. It's the long, dark, cold winter is getting ready to settle in. And in all that darkness, in all that fear, in all that danger, we ultimately find hope. And
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
what the message is of,
Yeah.
of Christmas. There's hope that the sun will return. There's hope that we can be redeemed if we get through this gauntlet, and that we ultimately have to look out for each other. And you do it because it could be you,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Like, if you get into trouble, if you're driving down a lonely road and some car skids off the road in the snow and there's no one else around, you have to stop.
Mhm.
You have to help, because they will freeze to death out there, right? They will
Yep.
die if you
Yeah.
don't do something.
Yeah, we
So you
literally did
help.
that on Christmas Eve one night.
Yeah.
This lady flipped her Jeep and immediately pulled over, got out. I thought we were going to find a dead body in the
Yeah.
passenger
Oh,
seat.
it was so bad.
It was crushed, and I kept asking her, "Is there anybody else in the car?" And it's on its roof, and
On a
she
busy
wasn't
highway.
She wasn't answering, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is."
Yeah.
So I crawled over there after we got her out and looked in the passenger seat. And I was like, "Thank God, there's no one here." But anyway, it's been an hour, and we want to do one more thing with you, if we could.
Yeah.
Tell people where to find you and your stuff and your podcast and all that other stuff. Because
Yeah, sure thing. Well, my website's my name, jeffbelanger.com, which you can see written right there. It's my podcast is wherever you get your podcast. It's called New England Legends. You can get it, on all the different services. It's free.
post it.
Every week we tell you some weird story about ghosts, monsters, aliens, and everything else strange. And that's every week. And then my books are wherever books are sold as well. So, and then you can follow me on socials at Exploring Legends.
Yep. I'm looking forward to getting them on audio. So they're my go-to on my way to work and home.
Yeah, a lot of people. So a lot of what we talked about tonight and way more is in this book. So if people were interested in the topic that we were talking about tonight, definitely go check this book out. Audio, I like to turn pages. I'm freaking old, but whatever. Anyway, thank you, Jeff, for joining us. I appreciate it. That was a quick hour.
So just so people know, we're staying on.
Yeah, we are
Jeff's
gonna do an hour
just leaving
too.
because people are, but we're still doing our little bit afterwards, but we just wanted to give Jeff the hour. So
Thank you, guys. Hey, I hope you have the merriest and scariest holiday you've ever had.
Same
You
to
too.
you, brother. We appreciate
Thanks.
you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
y'all take care.
All right,
bye.
Bye.
Okay, yeah, we are definitely doing an hour too. That was freaking awesome. Like,
Yes. He was
way-
awesome when we met him. At first, it was kind of like, I don't know when I met him, because Amber and I were standing in line when we started talking to him. And it was just like, I don't even remember what we were talking about, but it was like really funny.
Mhm.
And he was hysterical. But then when after we were just sitting afterwards and he came to the table and was talking to us,
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
he is just a riot and
Mhm.
so much fun.
Yeah.
So,
And if you haven't been to a Paracon, or maybe you do and he's been at one, but you didn't know who he was, so you didn't go check out his
Go
presentation.
check it out.
You have to
Amazing.
watch his stories are awesome. I mean, he is you guys could tell by watching tonight, he is a fantastic storyteller. But yeah, we are going to be on for a little while longer because there are some things that developed at the end of the day today. with Beardo's video that
made it so it made
infuriates me.
it's so bad. Mrs. Boo actually made a video and put it on
Yep.
her own page. It's not very long, but it just, and I was just so at the time I didn't really think about what I was doing. I just said it because I was just a little bit.
I said, let me approve because we don't want to get in
Yes.
trouble.
Yeah, we don't want to get in trouble. But so I just a little bit, but I think this brought out enough that there might be some more Mrs. Boo commentary coming out about this stuff, because it's very frustrating to me to see the backlash of somebody coming out because they didn't get the help they said they were going to get. And then somebody being called out, and then now they're backlashing at that person that reached out to have somebody else help them. It's very frustrating.
So what we're talking about, Beardo dropped a video today. He mentioned us, so it's no secret we are helping this family. But that being said, a lot of people are saying, oh, you're so great for doing this. And it's like, I really do appreciate that. But I'm the type that like that makes me blush. Like that makes me feel weird because, you know,
we're doing it because they need help.
Yeah,
it's not, we're not doing it for to be, no,
it's not going to be on YouTube.
No,
our involvement.
No, our involvement. Well, and like some of the Beardos,
if we get interviewed by
but,
Beardo and stuff like that, but I mean, we're not going to go there and investigate their house and put it on YouTube and make a video, because I've never done that with residential cases, and I'm not.
And we will never do it. Yeah, but I think it's frustrating because enough people are coming out now and calling them out, and now they're trying to come back and be like, well, no, this isn't true. And it's like,
they put up 2 posts.
When you've had a couple times now that you've had people that you've done this to, and they've come looking for other people to help them, then there's something to be said. But then you also have been debunked.
Yeah.
Duplicating sounds in a video. It's
bad enough to go run around the Ohio State Reformatory and fake something. That's bad enough.
But you're messing with people.
But when you go into people's houses and do that, and I'm not saying, I don't think Beardo caught them faking anything in this person's house.
No,
there's a lot of things that they jump to paranormal, and it's probably not. But the problem is they've been caught faking. So you don't know. Maybe, you don't know what they've faked. No. And that's and to do it in people's houses.
But then my problem now, because this is what made me finally do the video, to call them people out and to actually kind of in a roundabout way.
Oh, they
pretty much told them where they can find them, because without putting their actual address out there, they gave enough information that if you watch the video and then you look at what they said in there, you could easily find out where they live.
I've never in all of my life reported. I don't think I've ever reported a Facebook comment, but I've never reported anything on YouTube until today, because if their fans watch this video and then read this post that they put out today, they can find out exactly where this couple lives. Yeah. And that's doxing. I don't care what people say. That's doxing. I could figure it out. I know the city by watching the video, and then if you put that house, screenshot.
Because, and ironically funny, I'm not saying, but when we were doing when we were interviewing them, I just happened, because I got a fill on something, so I just happened to put the area in, and I found out a whole bunch of stuff about the area they live around just by a couple things I put into Google. And it's like, oh, and then when I saw that was just, I'm like, I'm sorry, but if you're gonna, you're here, you're hurting people. But the problem is now they're coming back at it and saying, well, we contacted you, and you didn't.
But they didn't.
You didn't.
I guarantee the people that we talked to, their version of the story.
But this is the second time.
Right.
This is the second time we've had that, where someone has said, but I'm just saying, the second time we've had people say, well, I've tried to contact them, they won't contact me back. And then they find us. I'm glad that they find us, because I want to make sure, and like I said, we don't do this for anything, but no call out, shout outs, nothing. It's just because we want to make sure people are safe. People feel secure in their own home. And they feel that they know they can trust someone that they're not going to exploit them
Yep.
for doing the right thing. But it's just, I'm so frustrated. So
Yep. But they, like I said, and the thing is, they doxed them in a way. I've got two theories on this. I think they know exactly what they're doing. That's why they left an irrelevant part of the screenshot up, is so that people know exactly where these people live. Or they're just dumb as a box of rocks and don't realize that it's not going to take much intelligence for people to figure out where these people live. But I think they know their fans are savage, and they are.
yeah.
Their fans are freaking brutal.
And that's sad that you're going to pull your fans to go and possibly
do your dirty work for
do
you.
something, because but I mean, there was a post today. There was 2 posts that I saw today in that chat that made me furious. The one, one of them, I don't even want to say it, because when I saw that, I'm like, that's not right. But then they posted about their area where that you can find them, and that just made me really upset, because now how fair is it? And it's shame on you that you're going to do that when they did nothing wrong. They asked you for help. You did not come to them. So they looked for someone else to help them. And they just happened to find somebody that knows that there's some other stuff going on that they're not doing correctly.
It's on their community tab on their Facebook page, and it was just done today. So that's where you can find it. And I'm not telling anybody to go over there and start up a bunch of shit, whatever. I've never been about, but like I said, I've never ever reported anything on YouTube until today, because that was so vile and disgusting to me that and I don't even know that YouTube's going to do anything about it, because I've got to find out. We were right before the show started, we were talking about all this, and I've got to find out what their definition of doxing is, because, they didn't post their direct address, but they
enough
posted
information
in a famous landmark that these people live right next door to.
You could easily
that they
pull
can find
records.
Yeah.
Easily.
You don't even have to pull records. Look up the website.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but easily could, with the name and easily.
So, and granted, their name was in the episode, and Beardo mentioned his name too, because it was in the episode. But I just hope people leave them alone, because
that's my fear, is that I just want them to make sure that they're okay, because I don't want to see people come at them, because that's not fair to them, because they did nothing to deserve this.
And another
they
thing,
just want help.
Yep. And another thing too, I don't know if they're watching or will see this or whatever, but I am going to inform them of this, that so many good YouTubers have messaged me today and said, hey, you need help with this. I want in, because, they want to help these people too. So there's a lot of really, really good people that want to help people. It's not amazing to me, because I know, honestly, we know more people that no one will ever know about that are such fantastic residential investigators, way better than I am. But no one will ever know them, because they don't do it for YouTube. No. They just do it to help people. That was the good thing about the Warren Legacy Foundation, is that it was all anonymous. None of it was for YouTube, and it was truly to help people. The mission, I've always said this, even after leaving, the mission is fantastic. The execution wasn't always the greatest, but the mission is, something I stand behind to this day. So yeah, we were fired up, but we didn't want to bring Jeff into that. We wanted to have Jeff on to talk about what he talks about. If you guys missed the beginning of the show, please go back and rewatch. Absolutely fantastic.
Jeff is awesome.
Yep.
He was so much fun. When maybe are you going to finish his serenading at the end of the show tonight? Yeah, we will end the show with the full version of Jeff Belanger. That was
singing
awesome.
So that we will be demonetized for this video, which that's okay. None of our lives usually are anyway, but that'll demonetize it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Even though it's
a song, it's copyright.
Oh, even though he's got the words all changed? Go figure.
Yep. It'll still pick up on the music, I think. So yeah, they've tried to.
Yeah.
I know a little bit more about that I'm not going to say.
Yeah.
In public, because my my advice would be to, no, you had your chance and you ignored us. So
Well, yeah. Now
that
you're
you got
all of a sudden
exposed,
after a
now you wanna
year.
talk.
I mean,
Screw
you're
you.
after a year, you're going to come out. I mean,
And Beardo played a clip of the guy where in that moment he looked very weak, but I promise you, he is not a weak man. He is.
no. And that's the sad thing too, is that if in the video, you can see how emotional they are. And yet you see the others, the brothers not doing, I mean, it's like they have no reaction. To me, I mean, just hearing it, and I'm like almost in tears just hearing about it. So how can you not have some kind of humane reaction to what their story is?
Because they're looking at it from a producer standpoint. Like there's been times where I've interviewed people and like, I know that if we were interviewing them for a YouTube video, there's moments where you're like, that's gold. That's what's going to lead this. Like you just, my producer brain works that way, even though we're not making it for YouTube and stuff like that. But you recognize those moments when that's gold and you let those people talk. You don't interrupt.
No.
You don't show sympathy because you're leading this episode with that moment.
But
And they know what they're doing.
Yeah, but it makes me sick.
Yep.
Makes me sick.
And I think there's definitely been some fallout today with, it sounds like, I don't know, Beardo may have more to say about this. I don't want to speak for him.
No.
And he didn't tell me anything specific, but I'm pretty sure some conversations have been had. Oh, shoot.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, see, Wolfie, I don't know if you know, but this is what we've done for years before we started doing YouTube stuff. So this is
we've probably done
very
more,
familiar ground for us.
We've probably done more residential than we have public.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean,
Way
people
more.
I don't think people realize how much residential we've done
for years.
Yeah, compared to public. I mean, we just more recently came back out doing public.
And I'll be honest with you, I had to, like, another reason I left the Warren Foundation was I was in a position where I couldn't help people anymore because I was reading their emails and being like, you're full of shit. This is bullshit. You know, I was like, no, you know, I got to a point because we dealt with so many people with drug issues and mental health issues and
that didn't really want the help.
No, they wanted verification of their orb videos. Like I started to get, but I did that when I worked with the Warren Foundation 40 hours a week in addition to my regular job.
It was probably more than that sometimes.
Yeah, there were definitely
because like literally at one point I had to put my foot down and I had to tell the uppers and the Warren, no, I get him 1 day a week. Nothing. He gets there's no interviews.
Hyper focused.
I mean, I literally saw him nothing, and it would be anything. It was like work and then foundation, work, foundation, work. I mean, it was cutting into everything where we didn't do anything because that's all it was. And I literally, and even if it wasn't in his region, he had to go and do it. So, or he had to go talk about it. So I got to the point that at one point I literally had given them the ultimatum. It's either I get at least 1 day a week or you quit it all together. So,
and I'm not patting myself on the back too. Cause like I said, there are people that you guys will never know about that put in that much effort too. There's a lot of really, really, really good people in the Warren Legacy Foundation that their motivation is in the right place. They know what they're doing. And they're really, really good at what they do.
Yeah.
And they work their asses off like hours and hours and hours. So what was this? Oop.
Oh, this one. Oh, this one. You missed that one.
I knew you two did residential, but this is above me. It's really, it's only maybe perceived as above and beyond because people know about it. But this would be a case that we would take on. So this is what we told the people is that your story is not uncommon. It's just you were on a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Almost all of the clients that we dealt with had a paranormal team in there or a psychic in there scare the living shit out of them before we were contacted. You know, because they would scare them, but then not help them. They'd walk away after. Oh yeah. By the way, you got a portal in your bedroom.
Yeah.
And you got this shadow man I see that watches you sleep. Like that wasn't even one of their initial claims. And you're, as a psychic, you're telling this poor lady who's scared shitless that she's got a fucking shadow man that watches her sleep every night. Well, guess what? She didn't sleep in her bedroom for a long time.
Mhm.
Like, it's, even some of that stuff. Let's say you're a fantastic psychic and you did see that, but you know that this shadow figure is not harming her in any way. Don't fucking say it.
I mean,
Kick it out.
that's one of our rules. Like when we do any kind of ghost investigation or ghost hunts, if there's something there, I mean, if we know it's a negative energy and that person is like sometimes we know people will be like, no, I don't want anything kicked out. Most times in like a residential, if we know it's like, I mean, there's been times that we've gone just to do a cleanse and there's been something bad and we've taken it out because it's like, no, it just needs to go. And so we've actually booped it out just because it just needed to go. And sometimes it's not like it's never demonic. It's just just a negative energy.
Yep.
And
well,
it just needs
there's been a couple suspected.
Well, yeah, but I'm
Well,
saying
one,
the
I'm
ones
pretty
that
sure.
we've like on residentials that we've just kind of, okay, you need to go.
Yeah,
but
we've never had to go like do an exorcism because
No.
one, we wouldn't even do that. We
No.
would call a church because that is definitely not our gig. Even though I am a certified demonologist, just so everybody knows, you can take that certificate and wipe your butt with it because that's all it's worth. Yeah, I know. I like I said, I appreciate that. There were a lot of comments. I just it makes me I don't handle compliments very well.
No, and I think for both of us, we're not doing this for, like I said, we're not doing this. It's like there was a need for them to be helped and somebody needs to help them. And just to hear their voices of having that reassurance that we're going to help them and we're not going to leave them. We're here for the long haul with them.
Yeah. Cause even at this point, even if they're in a good place for the, we talked to them the other night for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
They fantastic mood during it and after.
Yeah.
Just because one of their fears was that if they told people what's going on, people are going to think they're crazy. And we get that all the time too. Everybody thinks that, man, if I tell people what I'm going through, they're going to think we're nuts. And so to have somebody that say, look, I guarantee you cannot tell me anything that I haven't heard already. And I really mean that. Yes. And Cree, this brought to light my suspicions of probably the majority of their cases that they do. I know they go in, they get their video and they go on, and their fans will say, they defend them and say, well, they're busy and they travel and they film. Well, then don't fucking do people's houses. If you're not there to stick it out with them for the long haul, don't do residential shit. Go investigate these prisons and asylums. And I'm getting fired up.
I know. Well, and it makes, like I said, it makes me so mad because, I mean, to hear the relief in their voice, but then to hear that we've already, like, you've had contact with them several times already. Mm-hmm. I've had contact with them several times already. And just, you can tell that they are just, that somebody believes them and somebody is at, and I mean, we've reassured them. So I cannot tell you how much we've reassured them and continually will reassure them. We are not abandoning them. We will be with them for, they have our phone numbers. Yep. We don't, like, our personal phone number, especially mine, especially.
Yeah, we never give out Dana's.
My phone number never is given out just because it's never given out. My phone number has been given out. So it's because, so they can reach us at any time. If they can't get a hold of Jeff, they can get a hold of me, so they can get a hold of one of us if they have, anything.
And I think that gives them peace of mind too, knowing that, okay, if something happens and I need to talk to somebody right away, or even, within 12 to 24 hours, these people are going to listen. And, that means a lot for people's state of mind too. Yeah. And there again, I'm not looking for a pat on the back.
No.
None of that shit.
And this is so funny too, is because we normally would not talk so much about these paranormal cases.
We wouldn't be talking about this except Beardo did.
Beardo did, and then people have been asking us about it, and it's like that's the only reason we would even say that we're involved in a case. Is that we were basically call it out that say, hey, yeah, they're doing it.
Yeah, Beardo's gonna follow up, Chris. Beardo is definitely gonna follow up on this story. He's staying in the loop. I tell him when we talk, and so yeah, we're keeping.
And ironically funny, I probably will be even in contact with Beardo just because I do talk with the family as well. And so I think everybody needs to be, all of us need to be on the same page with it.
And one thing that, you know, I was honest to God, I was really honored by this is that when Beardo thought of, okay, who in the States could potentially help these people or point them in the right direction, he reached out to me. And I thought, holy shit, that's cool. So I'm going to get a refill on my drink real quick. You don't need your headphones anymore, just so you know.
Oh, no.
It's up to you. So hold down the fort for a minute.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was going to say, oh, yeah, Candy just posted my link. So, yeah, so Mrs. Boo actually made her first reaction video. It's not very long, but it was Jeff approved because this made me so mad, and I didn't even script it, didn't think about it. I just kind of whooped out with it because it made me so mad. But with this one, we may have with the drama, I guess the reactions to what was happening in their chats and that, and the things that are being said is just infuriating to me. And that's why I kind of respond, because I just cannot express how frustrating and irritating it is to know that people go and they scare people and they tell them, oh, we took care of it. But then they have a question, and then they don't respond. That is what irritates me the most, because you can't just go and rev up a house and then just leave them hanging. And not giving them the tools that they need or to find out what truly is going on there. That's what's frustrating. And talking to these people to see how frustrated and how they're beyond, they don't know what to do at this point. And for us to be able to go in there, to be able to go and talk with them and to reassure them that that's not what is supposed to happen, what should happen. That is something that
You gotta turn like this way.
that is what really needs to be.
That Christmas tree is making things.
Sorry, that
Fuck. Hang on.
there goes the Christmas tree.
Wait.
Jeff just said the Christmas tree, and then bam, it fell down. It's got to be the one thing that frustrates me most, because to see how bad a family can be hurt by things not being done correctly and things not being followed through with. And like I said, we have cases, we talk to people. There's we have one person, we have, knock on wood, we have not heard from her in quite some time, but sometimes the stuff in the house we know is not, it's just, we know there's issues going on, mental issues in the house, but we still don't just dismiss her. We still do. But we don't dismiss her. And that's been going on for years, but we don't hear from her very often anymore. But we just don't dismiss them. Like, oh, okay. No, it's like, no, we'll still try to figure out. And
yeah, Sky, it's not as trendy as it was, but that was the biggest thing for the last 4 or 5 years. Everybody had a fucking portal. The ghost hunters would go in there and tell everybody, yep, there's a portal here. It like, God damn, would you stop with the portals? Stop. Like, quit. In the skinwalkers. Calm down.
yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to get through video or messages here.
Pam was asked why they always. That's bullshit. They say it because it makes people watch their YouTube videos. Ideal for effing with the demon algorithm. We all started using the word demon in our video titles, even ones like mine, and nothing to do with the paranormal. I don't use it unless unless I'm okay, I'm going to use a very British term. Unless I'm taking the piss out of it,
Yeah.
and can actually find a way to put the word in, like demonic chicken,
Yeah.
the demonic bees episode that we did. Like that's when I'll use it. But you will never see me say, knock on wood, in an investigation video or something like this, that demon captured on camera, or the night we almost died from a demonic attack, and like, ugh.
Just that one.
Yeah, I didn't like that, Chris. That
No.
Yep. I mean, Paranormal Nightmare is saying that they don't even drink, so that's bullshit. I tend to believe the one that hasn't faked paranormal stuff over the ones that have.
Yeah.
But it's one thing I'll never prove. It's a very small part of a bad story. That little detail. Sorry for the pounding, people.
We're almost done with that.
Yep.
A couple more weeks.
We're shooting for January 2nd. So, anybody got any questions? I did have one cool thing happen this week, or is happening. So, I haven't put out a video in a while. You guys have probably noticed. I am applying for a job for a YouTube channel. It's a true crime channel, and the application process is I'm making a video for it for their channel. So I've been hyper focused on that. It's a legit job. It's a good salary, full benefits, all that stuff. So that doesn't mean this channel is going anywhere, because that just means I won't be doing drywall and tile and painting and carpentry and all that bullshit anymore, because I'm getting too old. Hopefully I'll be writing scripts and putting videos together for a very, very large true crime channel. Yeah, Jimmy's another one. He stepped up. He's like, man, if you need help on this, let me know. Joe has Andrew Stonerock. Him and I had quite the conversation about it today. Andrew's a good guy. I like him.
Yeah. And it's funny because I'm at work before Jeff gets home, before I'm leaving work. And it's so funny because I will get like all the messages start coming that are through Boo, and it's like ping, 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 ping,
Yep.
ping. And so it's funny. So I'm getting half answers for some of these things. Finally, I'll just come in. So if anybody ever gets a message and it's always got Mrs. Boo at the back, you always know it's for me.
Yep. I mean, if dude says he smelled alcohol, I can't say that.
I mean,
he's wrong about that. And of course they're going to say they didn't.
yeah.
Yep. Andrew is a stand-up guy for sure. Jimmy wants to have like I said, a lot of people have offered. But that's another thing though. We can't go running into these people's houses.
No. And it's ironically funny because if anybody would ask, it will be a while before we would even go down there to even meet with them. People don't realize that
unless something comes
something,
up. Like,
unless something seriously is coming up. But for the most part, yeah, for the most part though, it would take us a little bit before, because we're in the process, we're running this like we would normally do an investigate. It's got a little bit more hype to it, but we're doing it like we would do any other investigation. They're being treated the exact same way. We're doing the exact same steps as we're doing with any other investigation.
One advantage that we do have with these people is I feel they were honest the first meeting.
Yes.
And they continue to be honest. That's a lot of times when we do these cases,
it takes us months.
Yeah, it'll take 3-4 interviews or a couple months before the people even tell you the truth. So that's always a big hurdle is, you got to get to know these people. You almost have to become their friend. So that being said, if these guys aren't willing to do that, get out of people's houses.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're not willing to be, like I said, the long haul, you might have, and this is something that happens too, that people don't realize. You could have your house for residential. You could have quietness for a year, even longer. And then all of a sudden like, hey, we got something going on. Can you come out and check it out? Or, that happened. We have a case, a house that for 10 years it's
Mhm.
been, and it was quiet for what, almost a year.
Oh, a couple years, 3 years.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden there was some stuff going on. We went in, did a cleanse on it, did some other stuff, and boom,
And
it's quiet again.
to be fair, we were going in there with Toledo, Ohio Ghost Hunter Society. It was their case that they started actually before I met them. So they've been with this couple for a long time, or with this
And but
house.
we've all got to know them
Mhm.
because we've worked so
I consider
closely.
the guy a friend of mine.
Yeah, I mean, since we've had to work so closely with them, and I think my first time brought in was when you guys did the 72.
Mhm.
But then I wasn't really brought in. I was like back support. And then, but I've been brought in to do some things with the house as well now. So I mean,
that being said too, if I ever feature a residential case on my channel,
that would be
one of them, because one, the guy actually wants me to, and two, it's already been on a TV show. It's been on one of those ghost reenactment shows where they reenact all the stuff. And we joke around because my buddy Harold, they turned him into this young red curly headed exorcist.
Yeah, it was funny. It was so funny.
I wish I had an accessible picture of Harold right now. I'd show you.
It's so
What that show turned it into was absolute bullshit, but that's how TV works. Kind of, I mean, it was based on their story, but not even close.
Yeah.
It's a horrifying story. These people, it did ruin their marriage. 1000% for sure. And if Harold didn't interact with them, didn't intervene and help them, one of those people would be dead. Yeah. I have no doubt. It would have either been, I'm trying to say this in YouTube friendly terms, even though I haven't been YouTube friendly all night, but it would have been self-deletion or one going after the other.
Yeah.
So yeah, Boo, Barry, I have so many, I can't tell you how much footage I have of investigations at this house and how big this story is. And actually, when it's going to be told, and Harold's coming out with a book pretty soon. He's hoping January, February, I think
February.
But this story is going to be in that book. And when it is, I'll definitely throw it up here. I want people to read it.
Yeah, because I mean, there's several of the stories in there that we've been a part of. So,
but this is probably, I've probably learned the most of all the cases I've done on this one, because it's been so long. It flares up, then it goes away. You go over there, you deal with it, you find out what's going on, deal with it, goes away, comes back 2 years later.
Yeah. And it's fine. And it's very fun. Even with some of those that we only go to maybe once, but I mean, we're able to go in, because we talked to him for, like I said, we talked to him for a while. And if it's not us, it's Harold from Togs. He'll talk to him for a little bit, and then he'll be like, hey, can you go in and do this? And it's like, absolutely. So we can absolutely go in. We teach the people what they need to do and how they need to keep their house from the negative energy. And so, and some people will be like, because it brings in some of the abilities, but it's not really abilities. It's your intentions. You have to set intentions for that positive energy. And sometimes you just need the guy. It's like you think, and some people think they might be doing, but they just have never gotten the guidance of how you really need to set your intentions to do it. And that's what a lot of what we do is just making sure. I mean, we do
a lot of what we do is educate.
Yeah.
I mean, because I tell people this all the time. So like if someone comes to us and they've got a mental problem, they may very well have a haunting as well. But until we go looking for ghosts, we've got to deal with
what we got,
what's reasonable and what we can medically deal with. Let's deal with that. And some people are totally open to it. Some people are like, nope, I'm not crazy. That's not the problem. And it's like, I'm not saying you're crazy. I'm saying you had a very traumatic event that you've never gotten help with. One lady told me, and I 1000% believe her, that she was forced to sell drugs by a drug dealer. And the way that he got her to do it was This dude cut off another guy's head in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
She
when
did
I
not
heard
make
that
that story
when
up.
I heard that
I
story,
guarantee it.
I had, and you could, I mean, the way she told it, there is no way
Yep.
she was not. The horror and terrified voice she had.
So
You could never have reenacted
So
that without going through it.
we recommended therapy as a starting point, not because we thought she was crazy. That's traumatic. She never dealt with it. Like you've got to get past that somehow. You know, I don't know that you can, but you've got to at least try to get past that, because that's probably the most horrifying thing anybody's ever told me. Like that.
Yeah.
And I promise you, she did not make that up.
No, there was,
when she told us that, and she said it so matter of factly, like,
I mean, I think
Man,
that kind of shook me for
blew me
a little
away.
bit, because it was just like, are you serious? I mean, how can people be like, I mean, it's just like, how can people be like that? But it's,
yeah, Demon Hunter, we're not big equipment people either. I mean,
everybody laughs because I take a pad of paper and a pen.
yep, and I take cameras and microphones and recorders.
Yep.
We don't. I have a REM pod that I set out. It never goes off.
I mean, yeah, and people wonder, because I mean, I don't use any equipment. I don't even carry a recorder with me half the time, because usually there's somebody with me that has a recorder, but it's not very often I even carry a recorder, which I probably should but like I said,
I wish you would, and I wish you'd talk instead of writing.
I know, instead of writing it down. But I think part of it though too, anymore though, there's usually somebody. Jerry lately's been my my guard. When we go out, he's learned what to kind of look for now, so I think he's a little bit more aware.
Yeah.
Of to look to make sure nothing happens to me. So,
yeah. But you know, when I do the stuff, when we do stuff with Dawson and Joe, and that's fun to me. You know, dealing with these people, it's not fun, because if you go in there with your cameras, you have to watch every second of that footage. You have to listen to every second of any audio that you've gathered as data. I mean, you owe it to those people to do that. And I'm going to tell you what, there's been days where I've watched a person's bed. Part of the time they slept in it. Most of the time they didn't. But I've watched their bed for 20 hours.
yeah.
And you can't.
I mean, I actually, because me being ADHD, I've tried to watch the videos, and I can't, because when there's nothing going on and you're sitting there, I think the most I can watch is 30 minutes. And I'm like, it's hard watching that 30 minutes of something going. It's
and
terrible.
You can't have that on in the background while you're watching like an entertaining TV show or something like that. No, you've got to have everything off.
You can't have anything else but that, because you got to listen and you have to watch. So you can only have that on.
And anything paranormal happens in a flash, or, you know, supposedly, possibly paranormal. So you can't blink.
Stop.
I mean, you can blink, I guess, but you can't look away and say, what'd you say? You know, you can't do that because you just missed it.
Yeah.
So but when you do residential stuff, you owe it to the people to go over everything. Now, when I go to the Monroe house, I'm not going to go over everything. I'm not analyzing.
No. And it's funny because
5 cameras.
We don't. Yeah. When we go in Publix, we probably don't go through our video as much unless we think there's something we'll go over in that area, in that section. But the only time we ever thoroughly go through is residential.
Yep. And you can't. I tried taking like audio to work with me and listening while I work. You can't do it.
Some guy, we had a guy on the team on the Togs team that used to do that. He'd sit there all day at work, and that's
but he had a job that he could
do that. Yeah. But I mean, oddly enough, on my drive home, my hour drive, I probably could do that if it was on my phone.
Actually, that's a good time where I could do it.
I mean, I could literally probably on my ride home and just listening to it, but the problem would be is when I would hear something, because the area that I drive through, you can't have your phone up or anything or touching your phone. I already posted that one.
Oh, my bad.
I know, apparently. I I wouldn't be able to like stop it or anything, and just in fear that a cop would be right there and give me a ticket.
Mhm.
But it
You're good, Claire. You're UK, I think. Yeah. So you guys are way ahead of us. So good night and enjoy your sleep. Get your rest. Yeah, so that's kind of what happened today right before the show. And I'm sure it's still going on now, but obviously we've been busy and not paying
Yeah.
attention.
Well, because I know I heard of it as I got in my car to
Yeah.
come home. So, and I haven't about it. I have a little bit less than an hour drive. So I was like, So I listened to Beardo's video, and then I didn't even listen to half. I listened to half of it. I didn't even listen to the whole thing. And then I had to make a few phone calls because I wanted to make sure everybody was
Yep.
okay. So
That's my fear, is that people are going to mess with them.
yeah.
Like, not necessarily Paranormal Nightmares, but some of their fans. That's one
Yeah.
of my concerns. Is that,
And so I just wanted to make
their
sure they
fans
were
are
okay
brutal.
today. And so
Yep. And their fans don't even realize what they're doing with those posts that they made today. And they're like, "Oh, you guys are so nice for helping this family."
No,
and this,
you're
it's
not.
like, dude, you don't even know what the hell's going on.
Bubba, you're
But
scratching me too much.
I'm glad Beardo took this on, because obviously he's the biggest debunking channel. He's got a very, very big voice, and he's got balls of steel. He's not afraid to go at anybody. You know, and I'm kind of upset that they haven't messaged me.
Yeah, I'm
I've
surprised
done
they
enough
haven't.
videos on them. They should have messaged me by now. How did they almost dox them? Okay, so what they did in the video that they made about this couple, it says their city name.
Which, mind you, the city name in general, in right there, given that their name is used in the video, and then using that city, probably pretty easy to find.
But in the video, not so much. I mean, I think I could probably find their house by watching the video, but then they did in their post today. They posted a screenshot from Jed, and it's got his first and last name, but Jed also gives a landmark, and he said, "We live right next door to this, and you can find this place on Haunted Ohio, or you know, most haunted sites in the US, you know," and he listed the place of it. And it's like, anybody can find out where they live. Anybody. So that's, I mean, I consider that doxing. I mean, they didn't straight up put their address on, but I mean, to me, that's enough. That's doxing, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
I do have to see YouTube's definition of it, because, like I said, that's the first time I've ever reported anything on YouTube. Even as dumb as A1 was, I didn't report his rant on Bedhead. What the fuck is it? J-Carts.
I'm trying to find it.
What you trying to find? Caroline Saxby. I don't know. Did I thank you for being a member?
I am not sure if we did.
If I didn't, I apologize. Thank you
Stop.
for being a member for 2 months.
Oh, here we go.
I need to get more members.
There you go. Whoever was asking for it. There you go.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Like I said, it's not my best, but it was my first one.
Just an initial reaction.
My first initial reaction, because I was so livid at that point today.
Yeah, you know, people screwed up when Dana hears about it, and she's like, "Okay, I got to watch this video," because she doesn't really watch much of this stuff. But even that A1 Solutions guy pissed you off.
Oh,
to no end.
I don't know. Lately there's been a couple that have really just yeah, because I was on the brink on that one about saying I'm doing something, because he had made me so mad. But then this one did it. This one just, I mean,
Hello, Virgil.
yeah, there it is again. But this one just, Bubba, stop it.
Well, when you talk to the people and you realize you're dealing with reasonable, normal people, and you hear things that you 1000% believe them on, and Paranormal Nightmare says, "No, that's not how it happened." It's like, get bent, dude. I guarantee that these aren't the only people that they've treated this way.
Yeah,
I guarantee
it's
it.
just Yeah.
I've heard other stuff too that I won't dare speak on because it's all hearsay, but I've heard things about the Foreman brothers that they're not who they portray themselves to be on YouTube in their personal lives at all. Not even close. So, but there again, that's hearsay. You know, we've talked to more people other than these two.
We're probably the most down to earth. I mean, what you see here is what you get in.
Onesie guy. Sorry.
Oh my God, onesie. That
Yeah.
thing just, that was
it's
part of it. That
he wears
just,
a freaking deer onesie on him. And I
Yeah.
think after somebody called him out for it, when Beardo made the video is when he stopped wearing it. Although I don't know, I haven't watched the last few things. I only check his stuff out if I think it's going to be coming at debunkers and things like that.
oh. Go ahead, Virgil. Ask a question.
Yes. Anybody can ask any question.
Yep.
as long
Anybody
as it's
can ask
respectful.
questions as long as it, yep.
That's another thing. We've only kicked out a few people.
Yeah.
And we kicked out Caroline once because she was way out of line.
Oh my gosh, stop. I feel so, I
Just
still
kidding,
to this
Caroline.
day still feel bad that I actually kicked you out by accident. Hey, we're not saying there's anything wrong with the onesies. It's just, it just makes it even worse for that particular.
I don't know that that's a good streaming outfit. Oh, but you do stream in it. But see, you're a lady. That's different. A dude should not be streaming in a onesie unless it's one time as a complete joke. My opinion. I missed it. What did it say? Yeah. Nuts is like unhinged.
Yeah, it's
for
like
sure. That was the most
it's
vile
like,
video I've seen in a long
it's like
time.
night and day.
Yep.
It's crazy.
I won't knock anything comfortable. I mean, I get it, but
Virgil, did you have a question? Just type it in.
I mean, maybe for Christmas I'd wear a onesie, but no, I'm not doing the banana. Is Dawson feeling better? He said I'm assuming he is because Dawson and I did something on Friday night.
I wouldn't do.
Yeah, let's not tell what it is
Nope.
because it's Dawson's.
But I mean, after he does it, then we can say why I
Yeah.
didn't do it.
His next video should be pretty cool. We did something interesting in it.
Bubba, stop it.
I
I don't know what happened to Virgil. He said he asked if he could ask
I
a
don't know,
question,
maybe he went to take a pee. I think Beardo may have been in a onesie once.
and
He was in something the other day that people were picking on him for. I forgot what it was. It was a Wolverine something. It might have been a onesie. I don't know.
I don't have a onesie. My thing is leggings and sweatshirts.
Like I would do the bunny costume from A Christmas Story on a Christmas broadcast.
You know what you might get now. for
No, I
Christmas.
don't want that. But I'm just saying I would do.
So
Yeah, the turkey suit.
let's put this out there.
That was hilarious.
If Jeff gets the bunny onesie, should he wear it on a stream?
Only on Christmas.
Only on, well, you are going to be on Beardo. Well, did we figure that out yet? Beardo?
Yes, we're working on times.
Okay.
So we're hopefully
So
going to be doing the
it may. Oh, here we go.
No One Left Alone for Christmas. Part of that. Back, he never comes back to me, not even in my dreams. I mean, sometimes people just cross over and they don't come back.
yeah.
In my belief. I mean, yeah, that's the whole thing. We can sit here and speculate about ghosts and why people are trying to communicate, why some don't. There's no real proof of any of it.
You know what? But he might not come, or she or he may not come back in a dream, but they might come back other ways that you just don't realize it yet. I have things that happen to me, and so I know when that happens to me, I know who it is and why. So
Friday House was in a Deadpool robe. And yeah, Truth or Demons podcast. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. No, Chris, delete that comment. You
Which
can
one?
get blocked for that. That
Which
one
one?
that you can't read because you got it.
That one?
No, the one you couldn't read.
That one.
The bunny one.
This one.
Yes.
I said that when you said
Okay.
no.
I didn't think you could read it.
Oh my God.
Get banned for such comments. Just kidding.
Bunny onesie, totally yes. I didn't even read it. Now I read it. Now it's like, yes.
That's what I said. You didn't read it. Yeah, hit that one. So Friday House says, Virgil, your friend is not lost. It's never goodbye. It's only see you later. Yes, I believe that. Yep. I 1000% believe that. But then, you know what? I guess what we're all trying to find out is why do some potentially seem to roam the earth after they've passed?
My belief that it's a lot of times it's protection.
Yep, I believe that that's
A lot of times it's
sometimes the
protection.
case.
And then I think sometimes it's protection, but I think sometimes the person is lost because they don't believe that they've accomplished what they were supposed to.
I really
on
think
Earth.
too. And I've said this a lot. I think there's something to that movie, The Others.
Mm-hmm.
That they
yes.
think we're the ghosts.
Yes,
Like they don't know
yes,
what the
yep.
hell's going on, just like we don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, I can't prove it, have nothing to back that up, but that seems like a very logical reason why things happen. And why there's not that communication. I really think that that could be a little more fact than fiction. Yeah, and Raven, if I don't think I spoiled it for anybody. I mean, the movie came out in the 90s, so if you haven't seen it by now, sorry if I spoiled it.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I mean, I could watch that one. That's one that you can watch several times and you catch something every time.
Yep. Another good one was what was the one with Bruce Willis and that kid? Sixth Sense. Yeah. Yeah, that was a fantastic movie too. Yeah. The other question is, what is there in there? Yeah, we don't know who it is. It could be
something different for everybody.
Yep. Could be aliens. I got a friend that thinks it's animals that's talking to us. We're hearing squirrels and birds.
I still say we'd get you a bunny onesie. Oh, and know what? Yeah, we could get matching one for Bert.
That would be a big bunny onesie.
That would be an
8 foot
expensive
tall.
bunny one for him. I'd have to cut the legs off or the feet off to get it on him. Well, I'd have to Velcro, take the sides off and Velcro it on him.
Time out. This is a business idea. A clothing store that makes clothes for them goddamn things.
Well, they
that
do
fit
have
specific.
for the 12-foot and the 10, because the 12-foot and the 10-foot, they
Well,
fit each other's, but they don't have it for the 8-foot. And I'm telling you, it
Then
sucks
we need to start
because
that business.
he needs a 3X. He wears a 3X men's shirt is what we can get on top, or 3X top. And then the hats is the hardest to find because I have to get anything that can fit on top of a motorcycle helmet. Like that's how his Santa hat is. That's how I have to get it.
No, but I'm saying clothes designed specifically
Oh,
to go
yeah.
on them things. Like, holy shit, you could do comic
Yeah,
characters,
because-
Captain America.
Well,
like, you
for the
could
12-foot
get
ones,
crazy
just for
with
like a general sweater, for the 12-foot one, it's like $50.
Mhm.
And it's like, I'm kind of making his stuff as I go.
Cha-ching. If anybody has any money that wants to back my new business venture,
Go
Hit me
ahead,
up.
Virgil, for a follow-up.
knew a guy that swore he could talk to Raven's crow. Yeah, I know people that say they can talk to
Okay,
animals. I
so
really
we do have a friend. Yeah,
Careful.
I just can't. If anybody would want, if anybody wants to see something interesting, personally message me, and I will give you the information.
Hang on. What are you talking about? Oh,
Yeah. So if you want to find about an interesting person that
yeah.
we've seen it
Just be
from
careful.
when it began to where it is now, I can give you the whole scoop and I can give you the information of where you need to go find it because it is very interesting and entertaining. And it's like when we show people how it started, it's comical.
Yep. And that's all you're going to say about it in case.
That's right. So
person
if
may be
you
watching,
want personally message me, you can do Boo Productions Paranormal on Messenger, or you can message Mrs. Boo, and I will give you I can
You
give
can't
you the
really get
information.
messages through YouTube though, can you?
Mrs. Boo, I should be able to.
I don't get YouTube messages.
I should be able to, but I mean, I'll figure it out. But you can, but on my Messenger, definitely Mrs. Boo for sure. Boo already
Demon Hunter,
has a
share
onesie.
share now. No, that's a private one. Demon Hunter.
He has a onesie. It's
Well,
weird.
thank you, Friday House. I appreciate that.
He's talking about the dog.
Oh.
I don't know, but that's why I'm taking it as he's talking about Boo babies.
Yeah, crows are actually smart birds. Yep,
Uh,
for sure. But I don't know that when we claim that we got an EVP that we're talking to animals, which is what some people I know say.
Yep.
Maybe me and Boo should try that sometime. An EVP session with Boo.
Yeah.
That could be an interesting short video.
Well, I mean, Boo does follow stuff around the house. I mean, she follows things and she hears stuff in the house and she'll go after it.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Bubba, he's scared of everything, but
Yeah, he's a little jumpy.
I am a Catholic. Am I priest?
He may not realize he's dead. And that's what a lot of people think, is that they don't realize that. That's kind of what we were talking about with the movie The Others. It could be a situation where they think everything is life as usual and we're the freaking ghosts, so
yeah,
I don't know, man. There's no proof of that, but that's something that sounds reasonable to me. Like, it sounds,
I would
guess
say,
if you could
why
logically,
do I still have these on?
that's what
I don't
told
know.
you a half an hour ago you could take them off.
I don't know. I would say give it time. Sometimes people don't want to come back to give you, like, to have things that no, and like I said, they don't. Everybody comes back differently. Like, I have things happen or something, like a certain smell of cigar I will get out of nowhere. When I have that scent, and it's a very distinct smell of a cigar. It was a cherry cigar my grandfather used to smoke. And so when I smell that cherry cigar, which you can't find this anymore. So when I smell that, I know my grandfather's here. It might be a song that comes on. It might even be a commercial that you might not have seen, but it will be something. But that's sometimes that's how they will come across. It's not always going to be very straightforward when they come across, but a lot of, and sometimes they don't want to come across too soon. They're waiting until they know you're ready for them to come across. And that sometimes you might think you're ready, but they know you're not ready, and it might take a little bit of time.
And we've had cases too, residential stuff, where it is a relative trying to let you know that, hey, I'm here, but people don't pick up on it, and it scares them. Like,
this is a cliche because a lot of people say red cardinals. We have had so many things in our family with red cardinals. It's crazy. Like, my daughter, when she got married, there was a red cardinal. It was clinched onto the window behind the wedding cake, and it was out there for the longest time. Then we had, at my one daughter, her graduation from college, or not graduation from college, she was doing a presentation her senior year in college, and a red cardinal, they were on the third floor of a building, and this red cardinal sat outside the window the entire time.
Yeah, that was odd.
And then even at our wedding, we had a red cardinal that came right through and sat, but we also had a deer that you had an interaction with.
Okay, so if I have a spirit animal, I believe it to be a deer, and I believe that, like, guys, please don't think I'm crazy. There was one day where I finally decided to deal with my mom's death. It was 8 years after the fact or so, and I took a walk. It was Thanksgiving Day, freezing cold outside, and I took a walk on the river. Not on the river, but alongside the river. I came up to this buck within 5 feet. And we just sat there and locked eyes for like 5 minutes. This is no bullshit, not exaggerating the time period. We locked eyes for 5 minutes. And I was pretty sure that, you know, that was in some way related to my mom, you know, being there with me when I was actually dealing with the fact that she had passed away. But then on our wedding day, we were going to go take pictures at this rustic cabin place, whatever. And I got there early. So I just went there and I'm like, oh, this is a cool place. Let's check it out. I walked around back and there's a deer right at the back of the house, 10 feet away from this one. And we locked eyes for, 3, 4, 5 minutes. And it was just like, okay, that's a sign that, okay.
And we even have
Mom
pictures.
approves.
The photographer ended up getting a picture from a distance of this happening, which is kind of cool.
Did she?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I probably have pictures on my phone because I'm sure I took a picture.
Yeah, but I mean, she's got a picture of you with the deer. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was, I don't know, just an odd moment.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then for me with my uncle, it's a blue butterfly. And it's like in our area, we have butterflies, but this is the most distinct blue butterfly. And it's not like a small, I mean, it's a decent size. It's probably about this big of a blue butterfly. And so whenever I see this blue butterfly, I know it's my uncle. And I actually have a tattoo of it because, I mean, that's how much, I know.
I didn't know that's why you had the blue butterfly.
Mm-hmm. That's why I had a blue butterfly in my hair for that day too. It was also my something blue kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's crazy because a lot of people don't realize that's your senses will actually pick up things that you when somebody is around you, but you have to be when you get in tune with it, then and sometimes you don't think about it until somebody says something like, well, that could be because somebody's trying to let you know they're there. And it might just be that they're just like, hey, I just want you to know you're there. Like a lot of times, like I said, cardinals are birds and animals seem to be a big thing with people when they see it, that they know that a family member's around. But it can be random things. Like I have a certain song, when I hear it, I know somebody's around me.
Well, because like for me with the deer don't just hang around and stare at people for 5 minutes, 5 feet away.
But even like when we go golfing, how the deer come out.
Yeah, they're very, very docile deer.
But still, how often, how many times have we
cool
gone golfing and the deers are like right there?
Yep, they don't give two shits.
No, they don't. And it's like crazy.
Yep.
And then ladybugs for your grandma horror. We actually
oh yeah,
we actually have somebody, Joe Frankie, his daughter wrote a book about his her grandma.
Yep.
And about her grandma coming back as a ladybug.
It's an awesome book.
It's a really good for children about death.
Yep.
It's even for adults though. It's really good.
But if I wish I had
I got the magnet. Hold on.
But I wish I had the website where people could buy that book, because
if you look her name up, you can get it on Amazon now, I believe.
What's her first name? Do you remember?
I can't remember. I'm getting the magnet. Hold on.
Don't kill the dogs.
I know. As I'm walking over them all.
Yeah, it's a really good, like, if a good way of explaining, or if a kid has to deal with a death in the family at a young age, it's a freaking great book.
I want to say it's Emily, but I don't.
Yes, I think it is. It's Emily Frankie. She's gonna get the magnet and show y'all what the book is. But we bought. So I did buy one for my grandson, but we have not given it to him yet. One, he's not old enough, but two, I'm kind of holding it for maybe a moment where somebody passes away, or somebody in the family. So sitting on the ledge of my car window looking at me, I was going through. Yeah, I mean, it's because animals normally don't act like that. They're typically, they don't interact with humans. Like naturally, they run or fly away.
It doesn't have her name on the magnet.
No.
But I got the book.
I'm sure it's Emily Frankie.
I got the book right here, so that.
Okay, yeah, Dana's going to bring the book out real quick. But like we talked about earlier, we had Jeff Belanger on earlier. Dude knows freaking everything about every backstory of Christmas and a whole lot more. But check this book out. It's a really, really good book. Go back and watch the first hour. He said he was only available for an hour, so I kept true to that, and we let him go after the hour. But God, that was a fast hour. I could talk to that dude for a long, long time.
Here.
So here's the book that Emily wrote. If anybody has any kids that maybe or knows of children that have lost a loved one, look this book up. Haley Frankie is the sister, and she did the illustrations.
It's a really good book.
But it's really, really good. Yep. So,
but I'm pretty sure you can find it on Amazon now.
And it's a personal story about her and her grandmother. A ladybug would always appear, is kind of the gist of it. I need to wrap up work, Jeff and Dana. Hey, no problem, Michael. Thanks for hanging out with us. Michael is always here. There's so many of you are always here. I don't like to just point out one person, but we totally appreciate that. Like I said last week, we had an average of 50 tonight. 50 plus. We never got that. Even when I had the Warren Files, which their YouTube channel had 30,000 subs, we would get 20 at the most. Except if we had a big guest. I mean, I started to ramp up the show before I left. Like we were starting to get some views, but just it blows me away that 50 people watch us.
Somebody actually said you look young for a grandpa.
Jesus. That's because I shaved. The other day I was like, fuck, you look like you're 70.
Well, it's even funnier when people realize I'm older than you.
Yeah,
then it's always cracks me up.
Your sister, and your mom all look young. Like you got young looking genes. How old's your mom?
She's gonna be 80. She's 78.
Yeah, she has a very, very young looking face for sure.
Well, and my
your
sister and I
looks
both
very young. You look very young.
People are surprised when they find out how old our kids are, because my nephew will be 30.
Yep.
My oldest is 27 and my youngest is 23. So, and I was not a teenage mom when I had them, because everybody thinks I was a teenage mom when I had my oldest, and I was not. I was in my late 20s.
Fun fact: I would binge the shit out of Teen Mom on MTV.
Yeah, I laughed at him when I found that out, because
in my 30s, not like
no,
and it's not some weird pedo thing. It's just I don't know. When the networks would put like, one show on all day, I was a sucker for that. Thank you, Sarah. We appreciate that. We love it. And I'm really want to get out a video soon, but I've got to finish this application thing that I talked about.
Who knows?
It could be a very, very good opportunity.
Maybe we'll have some alternating Mrs. Boo videos coming out because I'm so furious right now.
We got to get Happy Mrs. Boo videos out.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, it just like, oh my goodness.
All right, Friday House. Thanks for joining.
Yep,
it does come early. Dana knows that. Dana's probably like, we got to get off.
Now, it's funny because luckily my doctor that I have on Tuesdays, she's just a sleep doctor. So it's kind of
all the lives, she says this is the favorite one to hang out in.
Awesome.
I appreciate that.
For my, because I work in the medical field. So my provider, which is a doctor, my doctor day, because I usually do Mondays and Tuesdays are my clinic days. Occasionally I have a Friday I have to do a clinic day. And it's crazy because Tuesdays is not bad because she's just a sleep provider. She's not a pulmonary and sleep. So it's a little bit easier to get through my day. And she doesn't see quite as many patients as some of the other doctors. So it makes my day a little bit
Julie
easier.
Ann writes us in her calendar so she didn't miss.
I know. I saw that. Cool. I already posted that. You missed it.
Oh.
That's
I should really pay attention to this show.
So I'm going to add you to my Facebook page for friends. I am easy to find. Feel free to add me when you see this. Awesome. Thanks.
Cool.
Well, look. Yep. Plane's going to try to take a nap. Yeah, we laughed because we were talking about this at work today because Monday, because we didn't have a provider today because they're out sick. So it was like, okay, it was kind of like, I'm kind of glad because sometimes hers can get kind of tedious for her.
Hey, Jethro.
Hey, Jeff. It can get kind of tedious. And so I just was kind of glad that we didn't have a provider, but then I have a provider tomorrow and I'm like, yeah, because it always sucks on Mondays because we have the show and then I have to get up because I have to get up at 5:45 and I have to leave by 6:45 to get to work. So it's like, and then it makes for a long day on Mondays, but I usually right after this, I'm up maybe 10 minutes and then I'm into bed.
Yeah.
Gone, and then I'm in bed until morning. So
And just so y'all know too, like, so when we had Jeff on earlier, we do for the most part ignore the chat until we open it up for questions. That's just what we have to do when we have a guest on, because I cannot follow chat, and
it's hard for me to try to follow because I'm trying to interact with our guest as well. But that's why we have our great mods. We have Candy, and we actually just added Jerry today, so he's a mod. So, and we have Cassie, we have Jerry, we have Julie, we have Candy. I think there's one more.
But the cool thing about this group, they don't give a shit. They have their own conversations. You know what I mean? They're like, okay, we get it. He's got a guest on.
And then it's funny because I don't pay attention, but a lot of times Candy, if she really needs me to find out something, she'll be like, Dana, message. And then I'm like, and then I look and then it's like, okay.
Demon Hunter, I'm glad you found us. Yeah, definitely come back. We do a variety of stuff for sure. Appreciate that. So I think we should wrap it up. Let's go ahead and play the full version.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So we did this earlier, but I think we got
we only did part of it.
New people. We're gonna play the full version of Jeff Belanger singing because it was so entertaining. Why don't you tell the story about what he said before he did this?
Oh, I can't even. Well, what happened is Amber and I were in line. We were because this was a VIP after party from where we were at, and so Amber and I were in line talking, and crazy enough, Jeff came. He was behind us, and he butted into our conversation, and it turned to the bad side real quick. Not kind of appropriate kind of stuff.
He's a funny dude,
and he's funny, and so it was just easy to do. And so then later on in the night, he came over to our table and he started talking to us, and he said something about karaoke, and he was like, "Oh," and then he actually started. He was like, I'll do, and and he said he was going to do this.
Did he say
this.
something about the party being a little boring?
Yeah,
so
he did.
He had to liven it up.
He was going to need to liven it up. And so he said he was going to mention certain things. And we were like, okay. And he goes, and so he ended up, everything he told us he was going to do, he literally did in like the first minute of singing. And so we were just like losing it because we're like, oh my gosh, he actually is doing what he said he was going to do. But it was great fun. He is a trip. I cannot wait to go. And this is the place that we were at. He tends to go there sometimes. And that area, he goes there often. So it's not like this is probably the one time we were going to meet him in person. We probably will meet him again in person.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. With some of the conventions that we go to.
But yes, a Discord is in the works at the moment.
Jerry and I, because we wanted to get through the holidays, Jerry and I are working on it.
I know nothing about it, so I'm hands off on it.
It's going to be mine and Jerry's thing, but Jerry's going to run the Discord for us because he is part of Blue Paranormals, even though you don't see him always in the front. He is actually going to be running the Discord for us. We're setting up everything right now. I'm entrusting him to teach me as much as he can because I have no idea.
Yeah,
and
I don't know anything.
When he showed me, I'm still kind of lost, but he will actually be running Discord for us. But I think we have like 6 sections right now with it that will be added because we'll have a members portion. Yeah, there was a members portion. I'm
on it, but I don't know what.
I know, right?
I don't know what to do.
I think there was a members portion, but then we had like video or like video talk, and then like there was just different levels of it that we have. So we'll be getting more into that. Like hopefully we'll have that out by end of January. That will completely be up and going. Like I said, he's just going to be helping me. He's going to be kind of running the show with that one, and because he's done it before and he works with it, so it's like we'll let him do that.
Remind us of this Plain Lane because there's like it's hard for us to figure out how to set people up, but let's go ahead and end this tonight.
That actually Jerry would be able to help us. You want to get that ready?
Yep, we're gonna go ahead and get ready for Jeff Belanger to serenade us all as we exit. Let me see. Present. I'm getting a little quicker at this.
Make sure we do the
Yes.
the
Yep.
audio right away.
I always screw that up. Share this audio. Yep.
Yeah, but you gotta do it again, right
Screen
there.
2.
There, do it
Yep.
again. There you go.
What? That's dumb. Why doesn't it
I
just
don't
automatically play the audio?
Don't know.
It's fucking stupid.
Here we go.
All right, here we go. Yes, we got it. Sorry, I was talking to Stinger.
Look at the night. And I don't seem so sober. We fill it up with booze
I want my
and
headphones back then.
gummies. And when I hurt, it doesn't hurt so bad because I'm high and drunk. How can I hurt when I'm in Michigan? It's called pandering. Touching 1 or 2 or 3, no judgment. Reaching out. Touching Tim. Touching
Tim's a cool guy.
Good times never seem so good.
So good, so good, so good. Bum, bum, bum.
To believe they never
Oh,
Da 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 da. I'm gonna freestyle rap, throw a few lines. What?
Sweet Caroline, pum, pum, pum.
Let's play cornhole over there.
Sweet Caroline, pum, pum, pum.
By cornhole, you know what I meant. Tim, Ellis.
Sweet Caroline, pum, pum, pum.
Good times seem just okay.
Okay.
Why is it? Oh shit! Hang on.
There
Okay.
you go.
So yeah, that was Jeff having a good time.
It was so
He's
much
a very
fun.
cool guy.
Yeah.
Everybody go check him out. Like if you really are interested in what he said about Christmas and in the backstories,
Yeah.
he's a fantastic storyteller.
Is it too late to ask for something for my birthday or Christmas?
What?
Getting the audio version of that?
No, I
Okay.
can make it happen.
All right.
I may know a person.
Okay. Jenna.
No. So one last thing before we leave. Actually, next stream will be Dana's birthday stream.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Well, day after.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we're gonna hit that date.
It seems like this month has gone by so fast.
It is going by quick. Too
because
quick.
yeah, well, in what 2 weeks is Christmas? If my
Is it?
birthday's next week, Christmas is in 2 weeks. 2.5 weeks.
14. Yeah. No, it's
Is it 2 weeks?
2 weeks and like a day.
It's so
right?
crazy.
No, 2 weeks and 2 days. Jesus.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep.
Christmas is always happy birthday playing because Christmas December's crazy because we have 3 birthdays within 10 days of Christmas, and then we have one birthday
Yeah.
10 days after Christmas, and we have 2 birthdays on the 15th, and then we have one birthday on the 21st,
Yep.
22nd, 21st, and so it's just crazy. And then my sister's is on the 3rd, January 3rd. So we have all these birthdays so close to Christmas. It's crazy.
So everybody, like I said, join us next week. We'll do a birthday stream for Dana. Thank you all for
Woo.
joining tonight. It was a
I'm going to
good
be
show.
old.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
No.
I don't feel old though.
Because you live a healthy lifestyle. I don't.
Well, you live healthier.
But we're
than
not
you
talking
used
about
to.
this.
No.
So thanks everybody for hanging out tonight. If you did not watch the beginning with Jeff Belanger, go watch it. if you're interested in his stuff, go get his book. I mean, he's, like I said, a
Yeah.
fantastic storyteller.
And if you ever get a chance to see him speak, for sure, go
Yes,
see it.
go.
Or even if you find interviews of him on YouTube or on Facebook or even on shows like PBS shows and that, definitely watch them. They are always
Well, he said he's got a podcast and all that stuff. He's
yeah,
just,
I mean, he's just really, really
we'll have him
really
on
good.
again because he's got such different seasonal
Yeah, it's crazy.
stories. Like, so. All right, y'all. Peace out. The awkward ending is beginning now.